I'm Vaughn.
I'm Gene.
I'm Jose.
And we are the Face Buttons. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our first guest here today. We're joined by Jose.
Hey.
The RPG master. At the top of the mountain, you know.
Yeah, hermit.
No one else,
that's all I do.
No one else can stand in his presence.
I mean, you could. There's not much standing room.
There's not much standing room.
Yeah,
There's
like,
not
don't
much
even come,
room.
honestly. Just stay.
Yeah. The thing I'm most excited about is I finally have somebody to drink with.
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
cheers to that. All right, well, let's crack them.
And then toast them.
Ayo.
I like that it was like in sync when you guys cracked them. It was just both of them.
Yeah. Oh, no,
Yeah.
The sound on it was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I believe it. It was beautiful.
That's the most satisfying thing of popping open a can.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah. Is the noise itself.
Yeah.
I gotta be all like...
Down until...
Oh, my God. This is so annoying. I can't wait to get a new mic.
This new setup.
So, just so you guys know, the audio quality is a little different this time. I don't know if it's better. I don't know if it's worse. Some feedback would be fine.
But it's definitely different.
But it's definitely going to be different. I'm using a different microphone.
That's factually correct.
And I also moved the room around. So
Yeah.
there was like extra space here, and I had to deal with that.
Yeah.
So hopefully I've dealt with it well.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
added a lava pit. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. There's sharks
I'm
in
burning
the
right
lava
now.
pit.
I'm burning right now.
with like lasers attached to their heads.
No,
to
they're on
their
their bottom
friggin'
tops.
heads.
Oh, that's still their heads.
Yeah. Doesn't matter where.
All right. So the topic of conversation. So I don't know. I might cut this out, but originally when I wanted to do this podcast, Jose was kind of my first choice for my co-host, right? So we were chit-chatting, we were talking and whatnot, and I slowly came to realize Jose kind of exclusively plays RPGs. You know, I would mention racing games or fighting games. He's like, no, I'm not really into that. Oh, no, I get it. And I was like,
I play my fair share of fighting games. You know, I could talk about them.
Yeah, we played Jump Force.
I play fighting games. I'm just not like as deep in the dirt as I used to be. Like you talking to me in high school, I was really like, what are you trying to play? Street Fighter? Yeah, let's go play some fucking Street Fighter.
Nah, man, see me in Tekken.
Yeah, everyone.
no, man,
Yo,
FIFA.
see me in Tekken,
FIFA.
bro.
Yeah, see, there you go. I'm not gonna have
No, just kidding. None of us do.
Sports. I'm not gonna have this conversation with. I'm leaving. I'm done.
No, man, if we're gonna play a sports game, it's gonna be what is the car one? Oh my god.
We
we
just got into this
played
too.
it. Oh my god.
Oh damn! Wow, it's
Rocket League.
Rocket League.
Yeah,
That's
Rocket
the one.
League.
That's
I was
the
gonna
one.
say Pocket
Oh my
Racer,
God.
and I
Pocket
realized that
Racer.
was a Burger King game. That one time they gave.
Oh,
games
yeah.
away.
Oh yeah, it was.
It was one of the 3 games. Sneak
King.
Pocket Racers.
Yeah, Pocket Bike Racers.
I don't even know what that
And-
Was it a fighting game?
No. You were the king again, but you were doing something else. It was
Was it a
also
platformer? Maybe.
I
if
think
I had
it
to
was,
guess, because
yeah.
I think family friendly.
Yeah,
platformer.
It might have been,
that
yeah.
makes some sense.
You know. So, I ended up finding Gene, and then we started thinking about like who are we gonna have as a co-host? I mean, as a guest. And I immediately was like, well, we've had all these conversations about, is Legend of Zelda an RPG and like talking about RPGs and whatnot, which we're not getting into that just yet.
No,
we're gonna
absolutely.
save that kind of for the end. But I thought someone who at least has like a focus that can like talk about a specific genre, a specific type of game was definitely Jose and definitely RPGs. So that's what today's episode is about.
Yeah.
Is role-playing games.
Like
what are they? Why do we love them? What are things that we wish were in them? What are things that we wish would fucking go away? Etc. Etc. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So, Gene, if there's anything you want to add or get the ball rolling or,
I mean,
someone take the mic away from
to get the ball rolling, we talked about Legend of Dragoon earlier, and it's honestly one of my favorite games of all time.
It's pretty up there. Absolutely.
Especially in terms of like RPGs, like not even just games of all time, RPGs, like
Absolutely.
I love the fighting system.
Yep.
And it's one of the most underrated fighting systems in RPGs. I think that's the only game that really ever used it.
I'm trying to think.
So what?
There's some. I'm sorry.
What is the fighting system for those of us who don't know?
For sure. So it's turn based, but it was unique in that you had different combos. So what would happen is it was like quick time events, sort of.
Kind
right?
of, yeah.
Where you would start your attack, and then a button would appear on screen. If you press it, the combo extends. So eventually you could start learning like 7-hit attacks.
But
so
it was
your
also
turn-
timing.
Right.
Like it wasn't
So
just
kinda like-
as soon as it came up, like you had to wait for it to actually go into
It was like a
position.
circle thing or whatever. Like when the circle was around it, you like, hit square, boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of like Paper Mario had some of these aspects.
Yeah.
Chrono Trigger had some of these aspects.
Right.
stuff like that we're talking about? Okay,
exactly.
Okay. All right. Mind you, I think I played all of like an hour of Legend of Dragoon. You know,
that's crazy.
Yeah. I'm the novice in this conversation on this pod. I am the novice here.
Yeah.
Like I don't. I have experience with RPGs. You know, I have my favorites. I have stuff that I love about them and stuff like that. I have opinions, but I haven't like played everything. You know what I mean? Like you guys have definitely played way more than I have. You know, like by far, like a far margin. I played like 3 or 4.
I try to catch Vaughn up on the like the Shin Megami Tensei series, just the entirety of it at
Which
one
is
point.
A lot.
It's so good.
Yeah, I had a chart that was just a web.
Don't even bother trying to understand the timeline.
Oh god, it was so convoluted. Like that whole conversation. I don't think it's even out anymore, right?
That episode?
Yeah.
I don't think that one's out, no.
Oh, God.
Oh,
it's in the archives, though. I do still have it.
Good.
I have that episode.
Good. Yeah. Oh, man. But that conversation.
Yeah, that's convoluted.
It's
that's very
such
convoluted.
a good game
it's very
series,
good.
though. Yeah, the push turn system, like the whole, like hitting your enemy for the weakness and then getting an extra half turn to do it. Oh, just more stuff.
Yeah, my first time experiencing that was Persona 3. And that's probably one of my favorite RPGs up there. And I remember when I first encountered that and really being blown away. And this is when like the system was still rough, so I couldn't control what my NPCs were doing. Mm-hmm. So like they'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna use like the thunder attack." Like it's not weak to thunder. You're wasting my fucking turn.
Yeah.
But it really added like a level of tension to it because like with normal fights, you could breeze through it. Like, oh, I know your combination, I know what to do. But like boss fights became like excruciating.
Yeah.
Because you'd be like, all right, I got this, and like, oh, I dropped, thunder. Fuck, this guy can't do anything against thunder. And then they get like 3 more turns, and I'm dead. So that, yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds intense. Intense. Like it kind of reminds me of what's that one that you had for a while? I think Morgan was a character in it or something like that. It's like tactics based. So it's more grid based. It's at an isometric view.
Oh my god, I know the game you're talking about. Oh my god, it's like a Capcom cross something. Oh my god, it's for the 3DS. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe are we talking about the same game?
Maybe because it is a tactical RPG.
Because it was like the thing about it was, and if anything, I'll put it in the description. You know what I mean? We don't need to spend a whole bunch of time trying to figure it out if we can't find it. But was that your positioning was very, very important, and then you kind of would line up your attacks, your turn order of like this is gonna happen, and then this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. So it would be like I'm gonna knock this character back, and then they'll be in the line of this fire move, get set on fire, and then get pushed back, and then they would be in the line for someone to do an attack that is more powerful to someone who's on fire. Yeah. And it was like so many different moving parts.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
I
dig that.
I got to figure out what the name of that one is.
Yeah, no, that's not the one I have.
That's not the one you're thinking of? No. I have this game. I haven't played it.
I have no idea. Which game is it?
That was the entire question. Like, I don't know. He's like, I want it.
Like, I want to know. It almost sounds a little like Disgaea.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Disgaea.
Yeah.
Because in Disgaea, you can definitely set up a lot of different
chain reaction, sort of, Rube Goldberg.
Oh, I picked up
damage.
this person, threw him to that person, that knocked them back.
Yes. Yeah. That's what it was. Disgaea. That's what it was. Okay, I'm glad we did find it.
Okay.
I'm glad we did figure out what the hell it was.
Because I'm like, it's not the one I'm thinking of.
But,
but I do think it's that one.
I think I could narrow it down. Here,
Process of elimination.
Yeah.
No, but this guy is a great series. It's just it's also just so big, so expansive.
I think about it is just the amount of detail of like. So, have you ever played Disgaea?
I know of it.
Okay, so I
know enough of it.
There's like a system in that game where you can go inside of the items and change their properties or add properties to them
by fighting enemies in the items.
Like it becomes a map that you then battle on.
Okay, that's cool.
But it's so convoluted. Like it's just so many moving parts.
I get you.
That
can be overwhelming.
You can create custom moves and like all this other shit. And I was like, oh my god,
that can be overwhelming. I like the idea.
It's like watching Naruto. Like there's just a lot of it. There's just a chunk.
All right, good. Yes, okay. So it's too late for me then.
It's like trying to get into One Piece now.
Yeah. Okay. Starting it out.
Never mind. I'll just like read about it. Okay. That's no, but I know enough. I've heard of the series and like it's been recommended to me a couple times. I just think that like I missed that wave.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where like, it'll happen, and then the 5th one went out, and I was like, oh well, I guess I missed it. I don't know what happened, but
that's how I sometimes feel about Shin Megami. You know what I mean? Is like I feel like but I mean each of them is a different story ish.
They're kind of
yeah.
They're kind of connected.
You can say like
loosely
loosely
connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Digital Devil Summoner, is that what I'm thinking of? Devil Summoner. That technically is a spin-off of one of the endings of Nocturne, right? But if you didn't get that ending, like it's not canon. It's just like, if this ending did happen, this would be the world and the events that follow, kind of thing.
And is there one for if a different ending happened? Is there a different game?
There are. Sometimes it depends on the timeline, and it depends on the game.
Sometimes?
Yeah, that's where it gets like. That's why I said like don't even bother explaining the timeline, right?
Yeah, okay.
Because technically, Persona, that series is a spin-off of one of the other Shin Megami Tensei games that's kind of become its own thing.
Okay. I think I do remember this, where it's like two different franchises that at some point were one franchise.
Yes.
And now it's two completely separate franchises.
Because there was Megaten, and then there's the Shin Megaten, and then after Megaten came fucking Persona, and then there's the Raido Kusanagi series, and it's all in the Shin Megami umbrella.
Yes.
But the games are so vastly different.
Yeah.
It's insane.
So do you have like a favorite RPG? Just out of curiosity, I'm going to just throw the question out there.
Yeah, no. So I think that, like, the Persona series has really taken that spot of, like, what I consider, like, the perfect RPG. Mostly just because, obviously, like one of those, like, big RPG elements is that immersive story. And I think that, like, the Persona, each game, like, has always been about, you know, this concept of personal development. Like, it plays with the tarot cards in a certain way, and it's designed in such a way that you can kind of play it and get something different based on kind of how much you want to put into it, right? So, like, if you think tarot cards are all bullshit, then, like, yeah, you're like, oh, it's a cool concept, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah.
But I've had instances where, like, you know, I'll start playing one, and it kind of, like, coincides with, like, a time period of my life. So I remember when I was playing Persona 4, you know, New Year's was, like, right next week. And in the game, it literally goes, like, oh, the New Year's soon approaching. I'm, like, freaking the fuck out. I'm like, oh, shit, right? And then each one has, like, an overarching theme it's attacking, right? So, like, Persona 3 is, like, you know, it's a very dark world. It's very, like, everyone's kind of, like, going through a version of depression.
Is that the one with the...
Suicide Pokemon,
that
joke?
Yeah. Suicide Pokemon. I like that.
It's talking about, like, depression and all that. And essentially, like, finding value, right? Like, in a world that essentially is telling you, like, there's no point, right? Like, why bother, right? It's all going to end anyway, so, like, why do you care,
okay,
right?
That's pretty good.
Persona 4, right, is about this notion of truth, right? Like, pursuit of the truth in yourself. Truth as like a concept, right? Like truth is not like the static thing. It's this like ambiguous thing. They use like the metaphor of a fog because there's a fog in the city, right? And so chasing the truth.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, so like tracing the truth is like
Persona's
walking
amazing.
through a fog, right? And so like it talks about that a lot. Whereas, and then Persona 5, you get like this notion of justice, right? Like what is this concept of justice? And you start to realize that each character represents, in some ways, like an exaggerated version of that philosophy, right? But they're all their own version of what justice means, right? So like the first character you have, like Ryuji, he has like the most simplest form of justice, right? Like if I'm harmed or like my friend is harmed, justice is returning that favor.
That's vengeance,
right?
Yeah,
but like but in a just way. So not in the sense of like I'm going to destroy your life, right? So then it's not I want to kill this guy. I want to make sure that person who inflicted pain receives some kind of punishment. That's Ryuji's version of justice, right? And then as you meet each character, like you start having like these different conceptions of justice, right? So like where Ryuji's is so simplistic, you start getting to people like Makoto, who, you know, in terms of her character, like she's the one that's like, I'm going to school, I'm gonna be a law enforcement person. My father was a cop, so like her perspective of justice is within a system, like, you know, like
it's
you have to make
justice.
exactly. You have to follow a certain set of rules, and if the rules aren't working, you have to make sure you adjust the rules to fit, but you don't just act on your own. Like she even shows up to stop you, the main character, because she believes you are convoluting what justice is.
Yeah, right? That is very interesting. I love the way you were saying that each of them has like a theme, and then it explores all of the branching ideas.
Absolutely.
That kind of envelop those themes.
Absolutely.
You know, you're coming at it from different angles. Sort of reminds me of like the Metal Gear series, like Metal Gear Solid and whatnot.
Yeah.
Where like identity is a big part of like who are you? What are you willing? You know, like he's a clone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, who am I in comparison to an original? Right. Am I just a copy? You know, am I a simulacra? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And then like the idea of genes, the idea of memes, and like how. You know, genes are a genetic continuation of genes, of DNA, of actual biology. That's the word I was looking for. And then memes are a continuation and mutation and evolution of ideas as they permeate as they permeate through society.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's really interesting. I didn't know that they each had like a theme like that.
Oh,
that
yeah,
they really
yeah.
explore. Yeah.
The Shin Megami Tensei series as a whole
is pretty like that.
It's pretty in depth in like human characteristics, sociology, psychology,
The occult stuff.
Yeah,
it brings in stuff like that. With Persona being specifically like that one just focuses on like you as a person, because like the whole idea of the tarot, right? You start off as the fool and then you finish as the world, which in terms of tarot means you found your place in the universe. Like you are on exactly the path you're supposed to be. So a lot of it is this conversation of who am I and what am I becoming and what that change means. Like even Igor always stresses like the notion of like your persona is like the face you put on to like interact with the world, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this thing called like the Velvet Room, which is where you go to like you level up your things, you fuse your personas, and the Velvet Room changes based on the main character because his internal turmoil is different. So like in the third one, you're going up an elevator. Right?
Okay. All right.
In the fourth one, you're in a luxury limo because the main character in that case is considered like a superstar because he's from a big city going to a small town.
Yeah. Like.
Right. Oh, sorry. And then the fifth one, right? You're in a jail cell because it's about this concept of are you a prisoner of fate? Can you break those chains? And so he's in a jail cell with like wardens.
Fuck.
But yeah, no, it's a great series.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, no, Persona 5 The Royal comes out in a couple days. I have it pre-ordered. I'm so excited.
I wish it were coming out to the Switch.
I thought that like was been out.
No.
I thought Royal was out. Like
Royal's not out. That's
month.
That's being anticipated as much as Animal Crossing.
Yeah?
Yeah, at least by the fans. The hardcore fans, oh my god. Yeah.
The thing, I was thinking, it just popped into my head. You said the latest one, I believe you said the latest one is based on Justice. Yes. Like Justice is kind of like the main thing we're talking about. Aren't they thieves?
So that's, no. So it's a fair question, right? And that has to do with, and that's where that conversation of justice starts to come forward, right? Yeah. Because is justice what the society perceives, or in order to be just, do you still have to do the right thing even if society labels you a certain way, right? So the entire conversation, like when you're looking at it outside of the characters' perspectives, are these people who are, you're taking matters into your own hand, you're changing people's minds, you're stealing their hearts, right? Okay. Exactly. Whereas for the characters who know a certain truth of these people, so like a lot of the people whose hearts they're changing, you learn as you play, are not necessarily great people, but are protected by the perception of the society. So like one of the villains is like an art thief. He has the habit of taking these prodigy students and then passing off their art as his. So he's big in the art world, right? But no one can challenge him because he's a person of power. So when someone's like, oh, this guy is stealing my work, he has the credibility to go like, no, I'm not. This guy is freaking crazy. Like, whatever. Right? So
and society's going to take his side.
Exactly, because he's in that position, right? So like they are thieves in the sense that they're again, for them it's this notion of rebellion, right? So like the outfit, each of their outfits for them is what they think a rebel looks like, and that's what's brought up. So that's why they look a certain way, right? But they're rebelling against essentially a society that is rewarding all the wrong things. Like there's even like these pseudo conversations where like the reference, like, and it makes sure in the beginning goes any likeness to someone in real life, like, it's pretty coincidental, right? But like you'll South Park, right? But you'll look at this and you'll go like, oh, like there's a conversation being had here. Yes. You're specifically talking about a thing. But yes.
Oh,
they are thieves technically, sure.
Yeah. In a roundabout kind of way.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fucking awesome, dude. That really does sound very interesting.
They're thieves of justice, like Robin Hood,
Yeah. They're Robin Hooding.
Yeah.
Just make it into a verb. But
it's an action.
Yeah. Gene, I think you said at some point Chrono Trigger was more of your favorite, or at the top of your list.
Yeah, it's usually a toss up between Chrono Trigger and Legend of Dragoon.
Okay, yeah.
At my favorite RPGs, yeah.
Now you want to delve into that a little bit? Like why? What makes those so great?
To go back to Legend of Dragoon, the fighting system, like it was mentioned, but also the story. Okay. And the music is phenomenal. And it was one of the latest games to come out for the PS1. So they pushed the graphical limitations of the PS1 to the max. And it looks great, even for an old PS1 game. Like, it's beautiful. It's a stunning game. And it's one of the first PS, one RPGs that I really dove into.
So is there a bit of a nostalgia?
Yeah. Which is kind of the same thing with Chrono Trigger. But Chrono Trigger, It's probably the first RPG that I actually finished, and that's probably why I hold such a, not only that, but like the Akira Toriyama work, the music, just the fact that like you could walk up and there wasn't a battle transition, you know, it was on screen, it happened, even if it was ATB turn based.
Yeah.
It was perfect at the time. And even now, I have it for the 3DS and I'll play it every once in a blue. I'll replay Chrono Trigger. Just, I love it.
Chrono Trigger is one that I've definitely studied a lot more than I have the Shin Megami Tensei Persona series. It's like a whole bunch of subtitles start going down them. But Chrono Trigger, the thing that made me at least gravitate to Chrono Trigger, because I haven't beaten. That's the one thing that's fairly common in my story of like RPGs and whatnot, is like I've started a lot of them, and the thing that always stops me is the time commitment. Sometimes I just do not have enough time.
They are time things.
1,500 hours type things where I'm like, I can't. I just don't have time for that kind of thing. But Chrono Trigger, I was so interested in what was going on that I studied it after having played a little bit of it, and then finding video essays and stuff like that and getting into it. That time jumping mechanic and the way it affects different time periods and whatnot, and how it's done well, you know, because time travel is always something that is easily fucked up.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you can fuck up time travel very easily, but like for example, not time travel thing, but something else from Chrono Trigger that I love or that definitely enticed me was stuff like the carnival and then the trial. You know what I mean? Where it's like your actions have consequences.
Oh yeah.
Which is something that
definitely
like, comes up multiple times. Like if we're as you're talking about themes, you know what I mean? That's kind of the theme of Chrono Trigger as I see it.
Oh yeah.
Coming from an outside observer.
Yeah.
You know what
Definitely.
I mean?
So I actually have not played Chrono Trigger, so I'm taking your word for it. I played Chrono Cross, which is like, I guess they're tangentially related. So
it's a sequel.
It's a sequel, but it's also.
Not, for what I understand, like it is, but it's not.
It's a sequel, but it's thousands
connected.
of years later, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like
that's what I tangentially related.
Like Okay, so the thing is, if you get Chrono Trigger, get the 3DS version, because they actually add the ending that includes Magus's like getting his memory all erased or whatever, so that it explains why he's even in Chrono Cross.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't. Chrono Cross is one that I don't know like anything about.
I know very little of it.
Okay. So it being a sequel to Chrono Trigger didn't pull you.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Legend of Legaia did. Legend of Legaia and Legend of Legaia 2. No. Okay. But those were also. I wish Legend of Dragoon got a sequel.
It didn't?
It did not.
Okay.
It died.
I don't know where it could go though. I feel like where it ended was really good though.
Yeah,
like,
but New Dragoon could find the stones, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where like it could be good, right? And then like, what if it happened? Then you're like, well, fuck, there goes my perfect series.
Well, but at the same time, isn't that the same thing with every sequel ever?
Yeah.
Of anything, not just
you're taking
games.
A risk.
Like,
no, you're taking a risk.
You're always
for
taking
sure.
a risk. Sometimes you pull it off. Sometimes you crash and burn. You know?
No,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Which is how Final Fantasy started. No, deadass.
What do you mean?
Square was like losing everything.
Oh yeah.
And their Hail Mary pass
was Final Fantasy.
No, but that's how they
got the title.
Yeah, like
same thing with Stan Lee. In terms of that's what happened to Stan Lee too.
Yeah,
he was finished with comics. Like he was gonna quit. He was like essentially he was coming to his retirement. Like he didn't start writing any of the big things we know him for until he was like 50. So he was like 49 or something like that.
Jesus.
And what it was he was coming to the end, and they were like, okay, we'll just write one more series for us, come up with a free reign, do whatever you want and stuff like that. And his wife told him, well, you're tired of writing these pirate books and all these horror stories and stuff like that. Why don't you write something you actually would want to read yourself?
Yeah.
So he created the Fantastic Four, and that's where we get the Fantastic Four. And then after that, he blew up. Like Fantastic Four is amazing. You know what I mean? So from then on, that's when he started making the Spider-Man and fucking the X-Men and all these characters. Everything we know Stan Lee for came after he was done. He was like, it was like, I'm done with comic books. I don't want to do it anymore. And then he fell back in love with it. And him and Jack Kirby.
It's once he finally had the freedom to do what he wanted.
To do what he wanted to do.
Every time.
Yeah.
Once you get someone with passion, the freedom to do what they want with that passion, you get magic, man.
Yeah. Well, Kojima wanted to be a film director his entire life. And he did.
Yeah, that's essentially what Metal Gear has become. Like, it's just, I mean, from what I heard of Death Stranding, he's got so many like famous features where it's like, oh, it might as well
Oh
be
my
a movie.
god, yeah.
Yeah. It was like a dream project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
But,
that's his personal
yeah.
magnus opus. Like,
Yeah. At least so far, he's not dead yet. So
yeah.
he could always make something even bigger and better. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I
just
feel
feel
like for
Tonight at
him,
9,
he'd
Kojima
be like,
dies.
this is mine. This is
the thing about Death Stranding that I love is like that every piece, down from the gameplay, the music, the graphics, everything about it, it all goes to that central theme of bringing people together, you know, because the country's been separated, death is like closer, and like it's just, but like even the gameplay of like you're literally walking, it's FedEx the game, you know, and you're just going.
I've heard.
And you're but the whole reason you're doing any of that is to connect people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. And everything down to like you're not even fighting people very often because you're trying to connect people. So any weapon that you get is non-lethal because you don't want to kill people.
Right.
You know, and then it makes sense in the storyline because in that world, if a corpse goes unburnt, uncremated, it explodes and creates a crater that's like miles wide.
Jesus Christ.
And that's a game over. You know what I mean?
Good. All right. That's checked. Good.
But it's like it doesn't have any ludonarrative dissonance. Where
Right.
what you're doing in the game is like the one that I always go to. The example I always go to for ludonarrative dissonance is BioShock Infinite. Have you ever played BioShock Infinite?
No, actually, it's on my list. It was free this past month, so it's on my list now.
Did you download it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you should play it.
No,
I
for
won't
sure.
say it's my favorite. I'm not a big fan of it.
It's the first one. The first one's the best.
Oh yeah.
The BioShock, the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
First BioShock is
that's amazing.
phenomenal.
It's an amazing
Yeah.
fucking game. But in Infinite, you're on this you're in this land. I'm not even gonna. It doesn't even need to be more specific than that.
Okay.
But you're in this land, and you're like, killing is wrong, and like we shouldn't be hurting people. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And it's like the narrative and what you're doing in the gameplay
Don't match
are not. They're not melding. You know, you're kind of fucking yourself
They
over.
don't match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back on RPGs though.
Like what RPGs have you played
So,
that you have some like history
Yeah.
with?
well, I mean, like Pokemon.
That's fair.
You know,
Yeah.
Pokemon to me, Pokemon is first off, it is an RPG because you know it's got everything going for it, and it has the most amount of characters. If you really think about it, the most amount of
Pokemon.
characters you could possibly have in an RPG, because I think of each of the Pokemon as essentially another character. Not counting story-wise, like they don't have their own storylines and
Yeah.
dialogue and
Mine is
whatnot.
like the legendaries, maybe.
It's like gameplay only. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Coming from a strictly gameplay perspective, you've got what are they up to? 800 and
Just let the number go.
It's-
Don't even
it's
think about it. The
ridiculous.
number's gone. They've
A
got a lot of them.
There's a
almost
lot.
1,000.
yeah, almost 1,000. But it's an RPG. You know, like
Yeah.
those are each character. So I actually you let me get the Game Boy Advance. I started Gold again. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like, I don't even think that's why you gave it to me. You gave it to me for like Zelda.
Yeah, I did.
And then I was like, I grabbed inside of my Game Boy that just wasn't working
Yeah.
was Pokemon Gold, and I was like, popping this shit in. I'm gonna play this now, you know.
Hell yeah.
But,
Gold was awesome though.
Yeah, Gold is fucking awesome. I mean, Pokemon games. I don't know, like, what's the question?
RPGs you're familiar with. So Pokemon. Got
So
that
Pokemon's
one.
one. Kingdom Hearts is
Okay.
one of my
That's-
favorites. You know, at least Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. 3, I feel like I just aged out of 3. You know, you've played these.
So I will say that like with the Kingdom Hearts series, and what I noticed with a lot of 3 is that the people who had like the most negative reactions to it were the people who didn't play any of the other ones, and you're missing like tons of context.
Yeah.
Right, so there's like even like little lines where like there's like emotion like padded into that where like I'm like crying at like a casual thing where he's like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, like, oh, you know, someone's rooting for me. I'm like, oh my god, he's right, someone is rooting for him. But if I didn't play anything like to
Yeah.
make that line make sense, I'd be like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about, guy? Like, hurry up and smack him with your keyblade.
Which I'm not gonna lie, there's a bit of that, you know, because I didn't play everything.
Yeah.
But like I did watch like the little.
Yeah.
I got what is it, 2.8?
Yeah,
The
well,
one that had
helps.
like
That
all the
helps a little
stuff there.
bit.
But I didn't finish Birth by Sleep before playing 3.
So that's one of the most important
yeah.
ones.
Yeah, which that one like I acknowledged whenever something came up about Birth by Sleep, I was always like, I know it's important, but I also acknowledge the fact that I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
In that like storyline, like why does Van
Absolutely.
look like Roxas and
right.
shit like that. You know?
Right.
But
It's such a convoluted story.
it is a convoluted story. That
To its detriment. It is
Yeah.
very convoluted. It requires a serious investment of you
Yeah.
to like, all right, let me like play through all these games.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I understand what you just said to me right here.
Another
But yes.
web map of
Yes.
of-
Yeah. You've got the board.
Intricacies.
You know what I mean? With the red
yeah,
lines.
with Charlie where he's like, that's what I
yeah.
feel like explaining the storyline. Yes.
Fuck, I really wish I could think of like what it was that he was talking about on that board, but it doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant.
About the mail. That's
Yeah, it was about the mail. But,
yeah.
No, what was the name? Remember?
Oh,
What was the name? What was the name? Is what I'm trying to think of. Do you know what we're talking about? Like, okay.
I don't remember the name.
It's like Pedro something.
Where the Pepe Sylvia. There's no Pepe,
Pepe
Sylvia.
Sylvia. There's no Pepe Sylvia.
And I keep
Conspiracy.
checking. He's like, what are you talking about, Charlie? He's been looking for his mail for weeks.
We're gonna get fired. We can't get fired.
I mailed it halfway to Siberia.
We already are. But I think for me, in terms of RPGs in general, while I do love the stories, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, for me, they're almost like separate quantities. So, like, for example, the thing I loved about Kingdom Hearts is the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So the story, while it was like
cool.
good and cool,
Yeah.
and like, you know, for me, it was always in support of the gameplay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The fact that as you're going around and you're hacking and slashing and doing whatever you're doing, you still have the old school, here's your items, here's your magic, here's your attack button, here's your this and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's real time. You know what I mean? That was the first time I'd ever seen that, and it blew my fucking mind as a
First one was
14,
killing
15-year-old
me.
kid.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. You know what I mean? And then the stories, it's almost like sometimes, and even listening to you talk about the themes and how in-depth Shin Megami gets, I'm like, I would really love to see that story. Which is a little sad to say, I maybe, from your guys' perspective.
Well,
But-
no, I mean, at least that way you'd still be experiencing the story,
Yeah.
even if you don't get to make the decisions yourself.
That's the other thing, is like that's one of the beauties about games in general.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a part of it. It's
Yeah.
like you're not watching a movie. There's something distinct about games themselves. So it's like I would like to play it, but like on easy. Like that's something I would totally.
Which is
fucking
fine,
do.
though.
Yeah, you
I
could
think
still
that-
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
Like,
think about it.
I think like the Shin Megami Tensei games, like there's almost an intentional like if you look at the difficulty description, it'll go easy. If you just want to enjoy the narrative,
Yeah.
pick this one.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
one I like.
Yeah, and there's
Almost
nothing wrong
always
with that.
go for. You know.
Nothing-
Yeah.
nothing wrong
There's
with
nothing
it.
wrong with that.
You know, just
Yeah.
'cause
But
I
then
want
you
to
can
beat
still
my head
make
on
all
the
the
wall.
decisions you
Yeah.
want and
Yeah.
get whatever ending you end up getting.
Mhm. Yeah.
So ultimately, it'd be your story.
Yeah, yeah. Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls
is an
4,
amazing
Oblivion's
series.
fucking. That's one of my favorite games of all time.
Mm.
I can still go back and play. I can play that game right the hell now and have a ball. Y'all could be doing whatever the hell you guys want. I'll be like, yeah, whatever. You know,
Right.
I know where everything is. I know, like, you know, I want to go here first. I gotta head to Kvatch. I gotta go to Bravos and fucking buy my house, that haunted house in fucking Bravos. But yeah, you know. But I've always like loved the stories. Like Final Fantasy VII has a great story. They just came out with a remake.
Yeah, I'm
Which,
really
do
excited.
you have the
Oh, the
demo?
demo.
I played the demo. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. When is it? Do we have a release date for that?
It's this month.
Is
I had to make
really?
a choice between Persona and Final Fantasy VII. I had to make that choice.
Yeah.
I made it.
But
and,
at
like-
least it's a very easy one for me.
No, it was tough. I had to make that choice, and
Ooh.
like you know, like
You got Royal.
yeah, that was the one I went for because Royal I put 2.5 playthroughs in. That's like 250 hours, right?
Yeah, something like that. Oh.
Because
Still not as crazy as Kaliski though. No one beats that one.
Oh,
that's a. So I just want to make reference to this.
Yeah,
really
no,
quick.
of course.
And also, you're gonna hear this and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" There's a game called Ark. You ever
Okay.
heard of the game Ark?
No.
It's like it's irrelevant to the actual story, but
Yeah.
the part that's important about it is it's this game where you're like breeding dinosaurs, right?
Okay.
And it takes the actual real time to breed these dinosaurs for them to grow and stuff like that.
Jesus. Okay.
And it's an MMO,
Okay.
and at any point someone could come in and completely,
Decimate your entire world.
and there is no
Everything's
going
done.
back. Like they can
good.
kill all your dinosaurs and you're just fucking got to start all over.
Good. Last checks.
Right.
All right. Yep.
Now, one of my friends who will at some point, I think I'm gonna get him back at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Kaliski, he freaking has 1,000 hours in this game.
Yeah, see, I can't. No.
I think
That's
he
great
said he
that he
played
can
it for
play
like
it.
4 summers straight.
Yeah.
That's great. He can. I mean, that's
And
great
then
he can
he's
do it.
also like in his crew, in his like little gang of
Little
people that are
dinosaur
playing together.
gang
Yeah,
boys,
yeah,
Dino
like
Patrol.
friends though, like real people.
And
Yeah,
the
Power
MMO
Rangers.
They
Dino
have
Thunder.
more than he does. They have like 8,000 hours for some
That's-
ridiculousness.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't think of any game.
And that's been increased since the last time we actually heard that.
I really hope
so-
it's like a 10 grand. Like next time we actually talk to him,
Jesus.
I'd almost be disappointed if he's like, I don't play it anymore. You know,
Like,
because
what
that's my
happened?
thing. Is like, remember what I was saying? Like, where someone can come in and destroy everything you fucking done.
Yeah.
I couldn't be playing a game for 200 hours
and then have it be ruined. Yeah.
and then start all over.
Mhm.
I
I feel that.
I couldn't do it.
it
That's
does
like imagine playing Persona for 250 hours, whatever,
I mean,
and someone comes and deletes your save file.
I just kind of did that though. I just started over on.
Oh, you did say 2 playthroughs too,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you did start over.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Well,
I don't
so-
know.
And I did
because-
Breath of
I
the
don't know,
Wild.
man.
I just started Breath of the Wild again in master mode. Like,
yeah, you did that like another night.
Master mode.
Yeah.
Like it's so hard. So hard.
Yeah,
But-
well,
Oh, man.
usually like for RPGs at least that I've noticed, they give you a really strong pull to come back a second time. So
Yeah?
with like the Persona series, you can't do everything in one playthrough.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
So you have like social.
Oh,
links,
that's
so-
an actual incentive then.
right. So like
Okay.
so there's this thing called social links, so you need them to like they're part of like the narrative because each social link like have their own thing they're going through. So like in 5, there's a teacher who's lost her passion for teaching, and by the end of it, you reinvigorate her passion for teaching.
Oh, that's
right?
cool. Yeah.
And you have to like do things. But you have a set amount of time in order
Yeah.
to do things. It's like you have a school year that
Yeah.
fast forwards or whatever.
Of course.
So you have to always go back and to get those other social links to complete it. But then they'll do a thing where you've unlocked the secret boss. So now that you've beaten the first time, you have this new boss that's usually the hardest one in the game.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
only chance you can fight him when you do it again.
And also, I'm thinking of like the Majora's Mask effect, where it's like, if you're gonna focus on doing this thing, you couldn't possibly also be doing
Yes.
this thing.
Mhm.
So you
Make
Yeah,
have
that
to go
you
back.
have to pick and choose.
I don't even think like. Look, I'm thinking of it like you're like playing a different game at that point. Like you're playing the same mechanics, but you're just
Yes.
getting more of it.
Yes.
That's not the same thing you already did.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that like common amongst RPGs?
Definitely in JRPGs for sure, like 100%
Okay.
for sure. Like a New Game Plus is pretty common in those.
But with differences. Like I don't mean like you're going in and getting a harder version of it. That's what when I think of New Game Plus, that's what I usually think of. Not to say it's an exclusive thought, but like when
so
you're
I
going
guess-
in, you're
I
taking
guess
double
you
damage
wouldn't-
or something. There's more enemies. You know what I mean?
I guess it wouldn't be so much you're getting a whole new game, but you do have new options, I guess, new things that you like, new storyline that you didn't get throughout your first playthrough.
Right.
So
that's
it
not what I'm
wouldn't-
talking about though.
Then
Like
That's
or actually, is that like common in JRPGs?
it's like a whole different game.
Like having like a totally different storyline to go through. Because I feel like Chrono Trigger, like
well, it all depends on how it is you go about the game. Like, because again, the Shin Megami games, you make certain decisions that will give you different endings.
Right.
And,
if you save
different
at the wrong
social
time,
links, different
yeah.
people. Yeah, if you save it the wrong.
what about
So-
like Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy? Like
No,
I'm,
not as
that's
much.
what I'm saying.
No,
Like
those
how
ones-
common of a trope is that really? If you're being honest with yourself, you know what I mean? 'Cause
Not as
I,
common.
like
No,
Yeah,
okay.
it's not as common.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like if I just spent
unless there's
100 hours.
unless there's multiple endings. Not
Yeah.
common,
Yeah.
no. But I know
Yeah.
like with Persona 4, for example, I remember when I first thought I beat it, I was like, oh man, like that's a weird name. I felt weird about this.
Yeah.
And like messaged my friend, I was like, oh, like, this is pretty good, but like this is like weird. Like, what'd you do? And I was like, oh, I told him what happened. He goes, oh, that's not the true ending. You fucked up. And I was like, what do you mean I fucked up? I did everything you told me to do. Like, no, dude, you have to like do this, and this. I was like, oh, okay, if I have to like, luckily I had to save right before the big decision happened.
Yeah.
I made the right answer choices, and like I got a new dungeon. I was like, oh shit, like okay, so I do that, play it
Yeah.
out, and like the ending's coming about, and I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, all right, guy, I finally did it. Boom, boom. It's like, no, you fucked up. You didn't do the right thing again. Like, what do you mean I didn't do the right thing? And you have to like, because it's a detective game, so you have to like figure out who commits these murders and all that.
Uh-huh.
So like,
Danganronpa.
yeah. So I'm like picking all the
Yeah.
wrong fucking people, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so was it this guy? And then you like you have another dungeon that if you didn't fucking do it right,
Yeah.
you would miss it.
I can see that being frustrating to some people though.
Oh, it is.
But
You
that's it is frustrating, but it was part of the narrative that I liked, right? Because that's what they were going for before. Because 4 is more like this weird Scooby Doo adventure where like you're in this small town,
Yeah.
you're this gang of kids, you have to figure out who the murderer is, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's asking you to pay attention to the details because that's how you solve the murder. And if you weren't paying attention, then like cool, like you'll get this ending because that's what your detective work led up to. Like you
Yeah.
thought this is the guy, this is the evidence I paid attention to, and so I'm gonna follow it, right? And so like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. There's your end because that's the detective work you did.
I would really like it if like one thing that I've always like thought of when like I'm thinking of developing my own games and whatnot is the idea. This is just something. So kind of, I guess, kind of moving along to kind of the next phase of the conversation. When I'm thinking about like RPGs or stuff that I would want to do in some of these games, is where, and this isn't like exclusive RPGs, just in general. Some of the things that I would love to see or do is where when your path branches, the other path still happens, but it wasn't you who did it.
Right.
So let's say you can take the mountain path or you can take the river path, right? Mm-hmm. And on the river path, there's this special sword. Mm-hmm. And on the mountain path, there's a spear, right? So you go and you adventure and you pick the mountain path and you go and you get a spear, and then like later on, you're in this town and you see somebody or like your rival or your enemy or somebody like that comes up and they have the sword.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that escalating throughout the entire game. And like, let's say, okay, there was that split path, but then if there's another split path, the game has to sort of calculate, okay, if you went this way, you have this, and you now went this way, but you could also have gone this. So there's 3 more characters now. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm kind of saying?
I would say, I mean, Dragon Age kind of touches on a little bit of that. So like, because Dragon Age,
I didn't even know another game did it. I was just coming up with that off the top of my head.
And like maybe not to like maybe the same like extensive complicatedness, right? But like so BioWare made it so their thing was you beat the game, you import your save, right? So Dragon Age is across 3 games, right? Oh. And what you do in the first game, right, influences some of the world in the second game and influences the world in the third game, right? So whatever decision you made in the first game
at the beginning of the
game, the first game
series.
At the beginning of the series, there's 3 of them. So it's the first one, second, and third.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant like when you go to New Game Plus, your decisions throughout that. Because I was like, how the fuck does that work?
That maybe not that. Like not New Game Plus, but like you are encouraged to start.
Would it be? I don't know if that would be.
That would be kind of interesting, actually. I think so.
But you are encouraged to do multiple playthroughs because the narrative will change based on how you start the series. Yeah. Right? So you have more. There's no New Game Plus. There's just, all right, how are you going to roll this time? Mm-hmm. Right? And there are things where you're playing the game where, like, you have to make a choice, especially in the third one where, like, okay, so you can go and get these people to join your army. Yeah. But if you choose them, you don't get these people, and they're probably going to join the enemy side. Yeah. Right? So then the enemies you face in that entire game are different based on which side you pick.
And could have been your allies.
They could have been. Yeah. You have to make that choice, though. That's and then you might get different items. So I know that, like, for example, in the third one, when you choose between the Templars or the Mages, right? Mm-hmm. If you go the Templar route, you get the Templar as your ally, and there's, like, an amulet you can get that's, like, really good if you're a rogue, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't get the mages as the allies, and there's different items over there that you can get. And though they're just lost, so you can't go to that area. It's gone. Yep. So it's a little bit touching on kind of what you're suggesting. Yeah. But that would be like I think the BioWare, like Mass Effect and Dragon Age both kind of touch on that. Dragon Age a little bit more.
Yeah.
It is a cool concept, though.
Yeah. What are some of the things that you guys think that if you like? What are some things that you enjoy our RPGs that you wish was a little more prevalent? I mean, I could almost guess one from at least you and possibly you is that battle system that you were talking about from Dragon.
I love that battle system. Honestly, I wish they would bring that. I wish they would bring that into more RPGs. Mm-hmm. Like, it genuinely worked. It made the fighting less of a button mash, you know, because most Final Fantasies you could just sit there and breeze through it and just X,
and only change when you need to heal.
Yeah, heal, magic. Okay, cool. Fight, and that's the whole fucking game. And who wants that? I'm sorry. I know for the most part.
I was gonna say some people do. It's a very popular franchise.
No, but people aren't there for that part of the game.
Fair.
The story.
But if you make the fighting a little more engaging, like in Legend of the Dragoon, where you have to actually pay attention to where your button presses are, if you land every single button press, they yell out the name of the move, and they do this little animated, like, wow! And
flourish.
Yeah, and it's fucking awesome. Whereas, like, okay, cool, I just hit X again, and they hit him with the sword. All right, yeah, my character did the thing, because I told him to do the thing.
What about more like real-time combat?
That's like, also cool. Like,
not as cool in your opinion?
Well, no, I mean, if I'm playing classic RPG, like I like my turn base, but that gives me added investment into the fighting. Because again, I'm not just mashing a button a million times. Like, okay, just do the thing. I'm finally like, I don't know, fighting. I feel the weight of like every stab, every swing of the sword, every like because I'm pushing the button every time I'm wah, wah, wah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's awesome. It's a great feeling,
Yeah,
especially in your hand because you're doing the fighting. It's not like you're just telling the character to do it.
You may as well just put it on
it.
autoplay.
Yeah,
and just which I found it funny when I first heard of. I think is it Bravely Default?
There's a few
or something like that where you can literally just auto fights.
There's a few.
I was like,
that's actually pretty. It's starting to become like a more common
thing. Yeah,
I feel like that's an acknowledgement of some of the boringness of the combat, or grindiness of the combat.
Well, I feel like it's definitely helpful for the grind heavy games. Like, once you get to a level,
kill rats for an hour.
Mm-hmm. Just set it to auto fight. Walk around the dungeon for a while, have enemies respawn, grind for like 2 hours, not doing a single thing yourself, mind you, and then come back and beat whatever was kicking your ass. Because
do either of you enjoy that?
No, I don't. If I'm gonna grind, I'll do it myself.
Meanwhile, he's like, well.
So I think it depends on either the game or what playthrough I'm on, right?
Okay.
Like my first playthrough, I don't mind the grind because everything is new to me, right? Like even the like, oh, here's the new version of this monster. What the fuck does this thing do? Oh shit, it's my weakness. Like
yeah.
But if I'm on like playthrough 2, where like, all right, like I know I have to like get through this shit, like then it becomes like, well, fuck, I forgot I have to grind all over again, right? Then it becomes like that slog. But I think that. And it all has to do with like that game and setting, right? Like I hate going back to Persona again, but that's my thing, right?
Yeah.
It's very purposeful in the vibe it gives you. It makes sure that the music is, even if you're bored with the fight, that music is bumping. You're like, oh shit, you're like, smack that guy again.
That's one thing I have to say about RPGs in general. For the most part, like they have like 7 to 8 times out of 10 some of the best fucking music in the entire gaming landscape. They just have like
their scores.
Wow, their scores are like almost always perfect 10s. Like they're just winners.
Magnificent.
Like
I Am Setsuna. Oh my god, it's entirely played on piano. It's beautiful. It's haunting. It's a fucking.
I always forget that like I Am Setsuna is not a.
Senua's Blade.
That one. I always forget that these are 2 different franchises. I don't know why. It's like the closest of the names or something. I always forget that like this is not this game. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
But no, I think
I still play 7 soundtrack.
Yeah.
All the time.
Really good.
Like I can hum every fucking note,
9 is amazing too.
9 I want to play 9.
I have.
But
9.
I almost feel like I want to play some of the older ones before playing 9 because 9 seems to me like an homage. It was like the closing out of this old world style
it was.
Before they took on 10 and like changed everything,
It really is. 9 is the
culmination.
Yeah, cherry on top of like classic Final Fantasy. And then 10 was like, cool, we're going into 3D now.
Yeah, we're doing a totally different direction. Like we're completely changing what we're gonna be doing.
And then after 10, every single one was just different.
Yeah.
Like
11 was straight up MMO. 11 and 14.
11
was straight up MMOs.
11 was all right for a bit, and then 14 bombed.
Well, then they did Realm Reborn.
And then it got because it
bombed.
So they were like, we're just going to destroy the whole world. Yeah.
Let's start over. Yeah. Let's scrap it. Do it again.
Which I love that they also.
It was part of the game.
It was part of the actual lore of like the worlds go through this like ebb and flow of destruction and creation. And they started it thinking that it was going to be awesome in this creation phase, knowing at some point in the future they would have a destruction phase. But then this one fucking failed,
bombed,
so they were like, let's just do the destruction phase now.
Yeah,
like, just burn it to the ground.
You know what they need to do that to?
What?
76.
In general.
just say
That's another question.
Say Fallout happened. Just say a new Fallout happened.
Bombs went off.
New people. New people are in bunkers.
Nuclear war is part of the storyline. You can totally blow this thing up.
How's it start? War never changes.
Yeah, it never changes, so just do it again.
Yeah, just fucking do it again. Like, why not reboot it? Reboot 76. Call it fucking 86. Whatever.
77.
77.
Then you cut to 17. No, never mind.
Stop.
I'm gonna grab another beer.
Stop.
I start getting into like historical drama. I'm like, well, if we think about 77, I'm gonna grab another beer.
Very good.
Do the thing.
Thinking about things I would change, I'd like to see some like more dynamic NPC choices. And
that'd be cool.
So what I think about that, I think about like romances, right, where if you choose to romance a character, right, like, and let's say you were pursuing somebody else, it's not like that character continues on with their life. right?
Oh, they get heartbroken. Or
okay, or they're sad, and maybe they're sad for a bit. You fix it, boom. So I'm thinking of like, so let's use a Dragon Age, right, where like you pursue a romance, right? But let's say like you're courting these two characters, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna cut you off, boom. It'd be interesting to see if, let's say, like, next big story moment, it looks like these two NPCs seem to be getting closer together, because like sometimes in the narrative of the game, there's that open room for like. It looks like these two have something there, but like the game won't explore it
because it wants to leave the option open for the player.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would like it if it added that level of like, it's almost like consequence, right? Like if you make a choice, you can't take it back. So like if I've chosen to invest my time in this character, I'd like to see NPC like, okay, cool, like because of what I've done with them, like whatever heartbreak or how I did it, it sends them this way, right? And like maybe that changes what I'm going through.
It happens a little bit here and there in Fire Emblem.
I haven't played the Fire Emblem series, so that's where you got me there. So maybe
Fire
Emblem
has
there.
like permadeath and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it also has like story beat moments where you can like meet up in a hall and talk to the people in your party, and depending on who talks to who, like what NPCs have a connection or whatever, and which you actually build by putting them together on the field. They can get married. They can have kids. They can fall in love. And then the kids
can fight with you.
It gets pretty intense. So like, even though you have
a little element of you, kind of like I'm gonna put them on the battlefield, which like forces their closeness, right?
True,
I wanted it to be more
natural.
Like, well, not even. It's just like it has nothing to do with me, right? Like I have no influence on why you two got together. It was just like we so happy. Random number generator. They went to the fucking ramen shop and it just get kicked off. Like, oh shit! Like there you guys go. That's crazy.
I feel like I would want it more to have some sort of narrative relevance of like these two characters have like
a connection of some sort.
But like it's almost like you could see, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense that those two got together.
Yeah, and I agree with that. So like thinking about like let's say Persona 4, right? Like where there's definitely moments where like Chie and my girl with the fan, Yukiko, have what feels like a little budding like girl man's happening here, right? But it never like explores anything past that.
Yeah.
But like you have like these scenes where this could be a thing, right? There's like whole fan, like literally the fans have gone off about this. Right?
Yeah.
So shipping. Like that could have, but like but in the game itself, like it's there. Like even where like with like Kanji, right? Where Kanji is like this whole conversation about like he's probably actually a gay character, right? And that's his conversation where like. Maybe Kanji hits on you, right? Like just because of like that made sense for the narrative, and like you have the option, take him on or no, and like whatever that does for him is a whole other conversation. But like that could have been there, but they just like like.
And then whether like if you do, that could have one storyline.
Yes.
And if you don't, that could have a totally different storyline.
Absolutely.
And even if I was gonna put a random number generator anywhere there, it would be more of like there's that major decision that you made as to whether or not you were gonna pursue or not. And then the RNG would be more of like, are they going to get very depressed about that?
Right, exactly.
Or are they going to find someone else?
Yes.
Or are they going to like?
That's why he was saying he wanted more dynamic NPCs in games.
Yeah,
like
that literal line right there. I didn't catch when
that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Like, it was like I really want. So yeah, like this and this and that. I was like, all right, but I wanted to like keep it going.
Now that you got that little bit of context, it's like, no, that makes sense. Yeah,
dynamic character interaction in general.
That would be awesome. Like honestly, in all games.
I was just about to say like that's not an RPG specific thing.
Yeah, in all
that's
games.
I think. Well,
that's why he said. I'm pretty sure the quote fully was NPCs. I don't know about NPCs and RPGs.
Fair enough.
NPCs, man.
Now, boys, stop fighting.
Oh, no, we'll get into that.
No, there is a fight on the horizon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm waiting for that bell to go off.
But yeah, no, definitely I think more dynamic NPCs, just maybe in games in general, but especially in RPGs where like that narrative is so important that that feeling of like I create the story, like that would be cool because it would mimic life a little bit more, right? Like you can only control so much of what's around you, and I think that would be kind of cool.
Well, not even that, but I mean, if you think about it, RPGs and kind of even mainly JRPGs, they build such giant worlds that they should feel alive.
Yes,
and,
I would agree with that.
And if the NPCs have a life that they're living outside of whatever you might be in control of, that'd be interesting to watch just develop.
I would agree with that. Absolutely, I'd like to see something like that for sure. No, go ahead. Sorry.
There's another thing that I think like I would like to see pervade a little bit more. Is something that I love from the Elder Scrolls series or the Oblivion series, The Oblivion series.
The Elder
that
Scrolls series?
the Elder Scrolls series. That's what I
The
meant.
Oblivion
That's
series is
really
so
what I meant to say. But is how, because like I'm starting to realize I like ARPGs more than I like JRPGs.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm just slowly like during the course of the conversation and like thinking about it and whatnot. I like, because I come from the world of D&D, you know, and I love that each stat has like that specific like charisma affects literally like the way literally when I first started my first game ever, charisma was described to me as how attractive you are. It was like if you have very low charisma, you're fucking butt ugly. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But how those stats can be affected specifically. So if you keep pickpocketing, you're gonna get better at it. If you keep, you know, if you're carrying around something heavy, a heavy weapon, or your armor's heavy, you're gonna literally get stronger. Yeah. And then if you let go of that heavy weapon and put on something lighter, it should be where I'm stabbing with more force, despite whatever this blade is doing. You know what I mean? I'm literally punching harder. You know, stuff like that, kind of pervading a little more into some of the different, you know, either RPGs or games in general, where that, you know, like platformers for the sake of it, you know, that's sort of my bread and butter. But which this wouldn't make any sense. I'm not saying this is a good idea, but like, you know, you jump a lot in those games.
I jump better because
you jump better because
Samurai Jack. I jump good.
But like, you jump a lot in those games. Your kicks should be the shit, and like, you know what I mean. You should be able to jump higher later, just out of time that you've been jumping so damn much. You know.
How would that work for Doom Guy?
Exactly.
I shoot stuff, so I'm just gonna get better at shooting stuff. At one point, he just shoots stuff without even looking.
Yeah, right.
No scope. There you go. I mean, it's already there.
No scope.
Yeah.
I just imagine like he's really buff because he's carrying these big fucking cannons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
BFG.
Yeah, big fucking guns. I was so close to BFG. I skipped it. Gene, anything that you think that you like? Oh, you had yours. Not you had yours. Like, okay, you got your.
You only got the one. You're allowed to that.
You're allowed. Is there anything else, guys, that you think like you like? I like that Kingdom Hearts menu system. Like that's just something to me. Like I love real time combat. Like being able to run around and swing.
Combat.
You know.
I just haven't played as many real time RPG like ARPGs.
Yeah.
Like
when it comes to turn based, like the only ones that I've enjoyed are like Transistor has a great turn based system, where, you know, it has the real-time combat, but at any point you can click a button and you go into a turn-based mode, but it still involves your movement,
kind of like
your
Inquisition.
Positioning.
Yeah, Inquisition has a very similar.
Okay.
You pause it and change it to like a turn-based system, or it's happening right there.
It's kind of RTS. Oh, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
New Final Fantasy, same thing. You have the choice between live action or you can switch it to turn-based.
That's dope.
That's what they put it in. So in the demo, you can't make that change. The demo, it's just they want you to know the new combat system.
Okay.
But for the actual game, you're gonna have the choice. Like if you want to play your classic, I'm gonna take my time and have.
But you're still not standing in a spot.
No, you are.
Oh, it's literally old school. Like
you have the choice. Well, I mean, you're not gonna be like 2D, right? You're gonna be the
yeah.
You have the choice of being that classic turn-based thing or the new battle system.
Are you sure? I don't think
that's what Google has told me, and unless I mean Google does lie, so I mean
yeah.
I don't know. Alex Jones said
Google is full of
evil,
misinformation.
Because if I remember correctly, because I had watched a couple YouTubers play it.
I did too.
And they were talking about how when you're in turn-based mode, that you're still moving around. You're like what it is. It's your ATB gauge. So essentially, you can still attack at any point. But in order to use any other skill or to use any special attacks and whatnot, that goes on an ATB gauge.
That's the regular combat.
Is that the regular combat?
Yes.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking
that's
of.
the regular combat, which is like, it's cool. Like, I see exactly what they pulled from 15 in Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, I can see it in that gameplay. I'm like watching my buddy play, like, oh my god, I see what you guys did there. I see why you did this. But yeah, that's a regular gameplay. How I understand it, you have the option.
Yeah.
To go back
and the only other times that like I like turn-based, that I actually actively enjoy turn-based combat is tactics games, because that's very much like we're on a field. I guess position. I like where position is important. If I'm standing like an old school Final Fantasy game where I'm just like everybody's in a line and then it's your turn and then you swing and then he gets hurt and then it's his turn and then he's swinging, that's boring to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm just like, all right, there's nothing I can do now. You're just gonna hit me. Whereas like otherwise I could be like, move, like get the fuck out the way. You know. And then the only other one that I could think of, which is something, this is something that I definitely would love to see in more games, and I know it would be difficult in a 3D space, but on like a grid-based structure, the way that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon does turns.
The step turn system.
Where you move, and those are the turns. You know what I mean? I was like, that's fucking genius.
Yeah.
Like
it's kind of like Crypto the Necrodancer. Every step is a move.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever played Enchanted Arms?
I've never heard of Enchanted Arms.
Yeah, so it didn't do great, so don't worry about that. I got that's one of the games where I got to the end, got to the last boss, and like I guess I fucked something up back in the beginning of the game because I was too weak to do anything.
Damn.
But it had
at the beginning of the game.
It must have. I was just like way too strong. Like the boss was like way too strong. Where like it's like it's one shotting me. I was like, oh, I don't know what the fuck I did wrong here. Like I could have sworn I grinded like I normally did.
Christ,
I could have sworn I bought the thing I was supposed to do.
Back to your point.
But no, you have like the two fields, right? And you have like your party, and you have like two movements in it. You have the first like your movement spot, right, where you can choose like, do you want to move your guys closer to the front line, middle, back, and then each attack had a range, right, where it could hit a certain number of squares.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to
kind of like that D&D style.
Yeah.
Like you play
exactly.
D&D.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Divinity. Like that's where Divinity, same thing. So like
that I have. We just haven't played it.
Ah.
Yeah.
Do you have the second one?
No, because I didn't play the first one. I wanted to play the first one before I got the second one. But I do have Divinity.
I got him to like the first one. At first, he was like, "Fuck this game." And I did.
Yeah.
Like, one day I sat down and
was
showed
it
him.
you?
Yeah,
Like,
I sat down and like showed him the game. He was like, "Oh, it's actually pretty fucking good." I was like, "Yeah, he's gotta like push past that initial beginning, but it literally becomes great."
I feel like that, like I'm coming to realize that is a common occurrence with me, right? I'll start a game, I'll be like, eh. Like
well,
Axiom.
Once you give it some
Once
time.
I give it some time, I fall into it. Like I'm currently playing Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
And like when I first played it, because I'm a platformer, you know, like I love platformers. So there's no double jump in the beginning. There's no like dash ability. There's no rolling. There's no nothing. So you're just like this really janky like stiff movement, and like it drove me nuts, especially coming from Dead Cells, which is my other bread and butter.
Yeah.
And I just was frustrated with it. I was like, I can't fucking deal with this. And then like I like kept giving it. I learned a little bit more about the lore.
Right.
And then I was like, I want to experience some of this lore. And then I started playing it, and I haven't stopped playing it since. And it's been like 2 weeks or something.
Good.
Loving that game.
Good.
And like instead of jumping to Dead Cells when I got some time, I'm playing fucking Hollow Knight.
Nice.
It's really gotten me too.
Good.
However, it is frustrating as fuck. Like it's Dark Souls level hard. Where I'm just
heard.
Fuck this shit right now. Like fuck. Like I have had those times where fuck it, I'm done.
Yep.
And then be done for the night. Like not where where you say like fuck this, and then be like, all right, I'll go for it again. No, I've had ones where it's like fuck this, and I won't play it for 2 days, and then I'll come back in and be like, all right, now let's do it, and then I'll get further.
Nice. That's usually what it takes when you get frustrated at something.
You need some time in between.
You need buffer time.
Yeah.
And then once you come back to it, it's fucking butter.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I found like a charm combination that's helped me beat like 3 different
fucking butter.
fucking things. Yeah. Proving your point.
Yeah, butter.
I also
what
like
you getting here.
I also like it when if something's giving you a hard time, there's other things to do.
Oh yeah.
Like that was a problem that I had with Final Fantasy 12, I think. Hallway the game. At least the first half of that game.
No, you're talking about 13.
13, I'm thinking
13,
of. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one was one where like if you couldn't pass this one boss, you're not playing the game. There's nothing else you can do. At least for that first half.
Yeah,
I know that the second half.
50%. Yeah. But that's fair. It is like nothing but hallways. That's fair.
And you're just like, well, I can't play this right now. Like I'm not being entertained. Like this isn't fun.
Yeah, I'm dying. It's not. Fuck it.
But once you get out of all the hallway sections, it opens up to be a really fun game.
That's what I've heard. But that's like telling me, man, it gets really good around season 3, and I'm like, I don't want to sit through season 1 and 2 then.
Again, you want to watch 1,000 episode fucking...
Yeah. This is why I don't watch One Piece.
Yeah.
It gets good at episode 500, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I think with RPGs, I have a little bit more of a patience for that like good swing.
Well, I feel like you've learned that over time. Like you loved it for so long. You like it's almost like a learned thing where it's like I've played enough RPGs to know it will get better.
Well, hold on now. Wait a minute. There's a couple where I've invested my time in, and I'm like, wow, it just didn't upswing. I'm like, man,
But did you beat those?
well, I don't know if beating is a good thing either. Because sometimes like I'll get to the end and
He
like,
beat the game and he's like, God, that was so unfulfilling.
No, I've done that before.
I've done that before too.
I beat the game and it's like, you know, like I guess like I came, but like I
That's
didn't
it.
enjoy that process. You know, like it happened. Like I got there, I finished. I'm just like I don't like that I'm there. You know, like I was like, okay, it's done.
It's a great analogy.
No, I'm like
Jesus,
I don't know, like
An
not,
unwanted nut.
no, like I mean, so like
an unfulfilling nut.
Yeah.
so this isn't an RPG, right? But like the first God of War game, that's how I felt about it. I was
Really?
like, I didn't
Whoa.
enjoy any of the first God of War.
Whoa,
God of War is
controversy.
awesome.
I didn't like
Whoa.
God of War till 2 and 3.
Is God of War an RPG?
Ooh, so I don't think the first 3 are, but I do think
Oh
the
no,
new
the
one.
last one, yeah. Did you play 4?
Yes, I think the new one you could say is.
Yeah.
I think the other 3
It's like
no,
an
like
RPG.
it's not even like really leveling up. It's like, oh, you know, you collected 6,000 red orbs from killing people. Drop them in here. That's,
Yeah. And then
You coulda gave me
upgrade
the
this
upgrade.
one thing, and then like, oh, you collected 6 phoenix feathers, more magic power.
Yeah,
you
your
know.
health is up, bitch. Go out there.
Yeah,
You're like, yeah,
You're
you know.
You're like, but this changes absolutely nothing about gameplay.
No,
like,
you're more health. What are you talking about? Just
yeah.
Go out there, swing your sword. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
but I didn't enjoy the first one.
Oh.
But like 2 and 3, I enjoyed the hell out of. The first
Yeah.
one, like I knew I needed it for context, so I played it. But like I didn't give a shit what was happening here. And like,
Really?
yeah, like he kills Ares, and I was like, yeah, you know, like
I did hate the final boss for 1.
No, that wasn't enjoyable at all.
That wasn't enjoyable at all. I was like so disappointed because like you build up an arsenal over the course of that game, and you like you know you get to it, and then it's like it reminded me of in some of the older platformers when you would get to the last level and it's a shoot 'em up to the last level. Like even Crash Bandicoot, the last level is like you're flying around and you're shooting. I'm like, this was not the game I played.
Yeah, I don't
This was
want
not
that.
even what it is. So you're like walking around as this giant, you're a fucking kaiju, and you're you're a Mechazord and you're fighting Godzilla. You know what I mean? And you're just like slash. Now you die. And I was like, this is so disappointing for what it gave me. I'll give you that last one, but that game is fucking amazing.
No, the game series as a whole is great. I just
Yeah.
didn't enjoy. You know, like I played the first one, like the gameplay was fine, but like I didn't care what I was doing.
It does get pretty slow after that first level.
You know, I didn't care what I was doing. I remember they were like, all right, go get this thing. I was like, I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. I guess I'm gonna go get it, but like, why am I getting it? Well, you know, fucking kill this guy. And like, yeah, all right, that's enough, I guess.
It's a game of it's a series of set pieces.
Yeah.
Like the whole series. I think the whole series is kind of a series of set pieces. You know.
Wow, hold on. This is like not even related to this, and I'm so sorry.
Go
but
ahead.
it goes back to the question you asked about what is an RPG that you would go and do a new playthrough and it's different story. So I haven't actually finished it because you have to play it several times.
Several. Okay.
Several. There's you have at least 5 playthroughs. And it's
Octopath?
Near Automata.
Oh yes, I do know
So
about this.
I've only done the
Yeah.
first. I've done the first and a half, but like Near change literally it become the new game every time. Like to the
Yeah.
point where like
That's
every,
very interesting.
to,
Yeah.
to, to the point where like I told someone like, oh, you know, I just can't get into it. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? And I'm like, oh, my bad, sorry. And they're like, oh, I haven't done my first playthrough. Oh, that's why you don't like it. You're in the first playthrough. Like, I gotta play it 5 times.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah, well, like the third playthrough.
It's really good.
Yeah, the third playthrough changes everything, and it's
Oh
like
yeah, the
okay.
2B ending.
Yeah, you know,
Ah.
but like you know, in playing the second playthrough right away, the narrative is already very different because
Yeah.
his perspective is different. You're seeing more of what's
It's
going on.
that's
in
a
the
very
background.
interesting storyline. Like
Yeah.
that's one that like I studied. You know what I mean? Like that I went in and like read about and
Yeah,
whatnot.
but sorry, that was
Do you-
unrelated. But I just remember you
No,
wanted
no,
you had
no,
that
like,
question, and
no.
that was related, and it just came to me.
Absolutely, that's what I want. But curiosity. Do you know how that all ends?
No,
Okay.
because I haven't,
All
and like
right.
at some
I'm
point,
not.
like I'll force
It has an
myself
ending
to
where you're
do
like,
it.
oh my, what?
You know, at some points I'll like force myself through it because like that's just who I am. Like if I started, I probably am gonna finish it to be able to say like I hate it, right? Like I have to.
That was what I was asking you before. That was like,
No,
like
so I have to get there, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, the first playthrough is just such a slog.
Yeah.
You know, like the character's just not very interesting. And like, yeah, 2B's cool, but like I'm not 2B. Dyness is cool, but I'm not him. I'm like, you know, talking to him, and most of the time I'm talking shit to him. You know, he's like, "Oh, isn't this tree nice? Fuck you, dumbass! Like you're a robot. You don't care about trees." And I was like, "Oh, well, you know, the tree is nice." You know, so like
I
I'm
don't
sure
care
I'll
about
like-
trees.
Meanwhile, he's
literally.
at home looking at the tree like, man, that is a nice
That's a
tree.
pretty tree.
Meanwhile, his decisions, fuck you.
Yeah, I know, like, 2B's kind of an ass. She's like, I don't know
I
shit about
I
tree.
saw a video on PlayStation Grenade. I don't know if you guys know that YouTube channel.
No.
It's just it's a PlayStation centric channel, like run by PlayStation. So it's like everything on PlayStation is amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they do like top 10 lists. Like that's the kind of content you're going there for.
Yeah.
Like inside Xbox or whatever.
Yeah, no, literally, like there's Inside Xbox, PlayStation Grenade, like that's their equivalent. Like
Okay.
they literally are like the same channel.
Ah.
Top 10 times your dialogue option is nothing like what you actually say or something like that. And one of them that had me cracking up was like, agree with so and so or disagree with so and so, and disagree was like a punch and a throw out of a window. And I was like, what the fuck? I'd be so pissed. And it was like one of the like Telltale games. Like it was like a Telltale game. Where,
I believe it.
I was like,
that sounds about right. That's that.
I played Telltale Game of Thrones.
Oh god, I hated that.
And like, oh yeah, I wasn't a big fan, but it just had me cracking up when I literally restarted. You played at least like a bit of it.
I played one playthrough of it, and that was enough.
Oh, you went all the way through? I didn't even make it all the way through.
I went all the way through it, and let me tell you, I'm not... That's one of those instances where I made it, and I wasn't happy I finished, but I finished, you know? Okay, like, it happened, but, like...
It was an experience.
You remember how in the first chapter, what is it, what's the name of the family? Treewood?
The Foresters?
The Foresters, yeah. They fucking get... he fucking knifes the dude in the throat.
Yeah.
Ramsay Bolton. I restarted that scene, like, as many times as I could do a different decision. It doesn't matter.
That's what
I was like, nah, man. Because there was like a whole, they say like, oh, so-and-so will remember this.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't mean anything. Literally doesn't mean anything. It's just, it just tells you that so that you're like, oh, I gotta pay attention. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, fuck off. You know what I mean? And that like destroyed my love for Telltale. Or not my love, because I wasn't even in love with it. But
that was the illusion of choice.
Even before that though, because if you have even just like tangential like knowledge of the series, right? When you see Ramsay Bolton pop up, you're like, you know you can't do anything about it though, because you know where you are in the context of the storyline.
Yeah,
like the Red Wedding just happened. Like, oh, we're gonna beat Ramsay Bolton. Like, no, I'm not. Like, I know exactly what happens.
I'm not killing Ramsay Bolton.
Right, but like that. But it removes.
But is there a way of surviving at least?
But it takes away that like the illusion is even further peeled back because you're just like, oh, you're here, so whatever you say goes. That's what. And when you play the game, it plays out every single episode. Ramsay wants to do this thing. That's probably what happens. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Like, I guess that's it.
Like, even like you play Metal Gear Solid 3, and that one takes place in the past, and Revolver Ocelot shows up. And if you kill Revolver Ocelot, it's like time paradox. Like you can't kill him because he's in the other games. Like, there's no way of... Have you ever played that one? Curiosity?
No, yeah. Snake Eater, right?
Snake Eater, yeah.
Yeah, the one who's like in the jungle and shit.
Yeah. Fucking, I was just thinking
of the alligator thing. I remember the alligators fucked me up every time.
Where fucking, who is it? Eva. I think she comes over and... I don't know why I'm mentioning this, but I just thought it was really fucking funny. Like, it's a really funny way of, like, knocking a character out. Like, it's some old... Hideo Kojima and his love for, like, 80s ridiculous action movies was Eva comes into the scene and she's on a motorcycle and she like backflips and hits him with the back tire.
Good.
She like straight up shred marks his face. It was just great. I just had to put that out there. That's fucking funny.
Some Devil May Cry.
Yeah, exactly. This party's getting crazy. Oh
but
my
Devil May
God.
Cry knows it's just trying to have fun. Like it's a game series that knows like, listen, you're just here to have fun. Don't think too much. Just enjoy the crazy shit.
I think so many
to think that Devil May Cry could have been Resident Evil is just mind blowing to me.
That's so much fun though.
All from a coding error. All from a coding error. They're like, oh, he's moving too fast. Like, I don't know, scrap this.
Yeah.
We'll make it a new game.
They made reference to it in Bloodborne.
Did they?
Yeah, there was a reference to, like, not Devil May Cry specifically, but there was a reference to that happening. Like, there being, like, this sort of different, like, tangentially related game. And then, like, it becoming its own game. It's almost like they gave it a shot and, like, saw, like, hey, do people like this? If you go to sleep in the Hyperion jail in Bloodborne, you there's a chance. Oh no! If you save it there and you shut the game off and you turn it back on, you're like you have two basically keyblades. You're a totally different character. You don't have a health bar, and you're running around fighting these totally different monsters. It's all like in sepia tone, and it lasts for like 15 minutes. Like it's timed. It's like 15 minutes of you hack and slashing. And then out of nowhere, like
it'll go back.
Your character like fades away, and then and your character wakes up, and I was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
That's
cool. It was a friend of mine that told me like, "Hey, when you get taken to the Hyperion jail, he was like, all right, save your game, shut it off, and then turn it back on and play it again." Like without telling me what was going on, I was like, "What is this? What is going on?"
That's so cool. See, what I love about that game is I learn a new thing every year about it, and I've beaten it like 7 times. Right?
That's how I am with like Breath of the Wild. Not with the beating it 7 times, but Breath of the Wild. Every time I play that game, I find something new.
Well, because the thing is like the crypt system is like super like maybe like 3 years ago.
Oh,
the chalice thing.
Yeah,
right?
chalice dungeons.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 years ago, people did some data mining and they found like, oh, here's all these hidden chalices that just didn't get made, and like you have all these boss fights that could have been in the game. So you're like watching these like create like, oh, like this is amazing.
And literally the bosses like when you're going through the chalice dungeons,
they're different.
They're but like they're like when you first experience it. It's a retread of like all the monsters are ones you've already fought, but they're in different positions and stuff like that. You don't realize until a little bit later that like, oh, there's totally new shit that you've never seen in here. There's totally new bosses that you've never fucking saw before.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
I love that goddamn game.
Like I want a Bloodborne too.
Listen, I'll sell my firstborn for that one. Sure, fine. Like you can have the Soul Devil. It's yours. I don't know.
Law of Surprise.
Yeah.
For
Law of Surprise for Bloodborne 2. I'm calling it now. Someone like email fucking Henry Cavill, tell him to make it happen. He's got some power, I'm sure.
Who's Henry Cavill?
That's what I call him. Cavill. Is it Cavill?
Cavill.
Well, he's Cavill to me. Get used to it.
Superman.
He's Cable to you.
They mispronounce my last name all the time. He'll be okay.
What did you think of that series, by the way? You may as well, so wait, speaking of Henry Cavill, did you see The Witcher?
I've seen 5 of the, what are they, 8 episodes?
Yeah.
Right? So
like
I've got 3 more to go.
Oh, okay.
So
Did you just start watching it?
No.
Okay, so you made it to 5 and then we're like...
No, it wasn't that I didn't like it. I think that, at the time I was house sitting, right? So I had all this open time, right?
Okay.
And then when I stopped house sitting, I was like, all right, well, I moved back to my apartment, and then life started coming, the gears came back, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I just just forgot to go back to it.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty good. I thought that he really nailed Geralt really well. And then it made me go back to Witcher 3, and I think that's to a credit to the series, right? If I watch it, I'm like, damn, I want to play Witcher again. I think that's what it's supposed to do, right? Bring me back to it. I'll never beat Witcher 3, right? But it's hella fun. It's just too big for me, right?
Yeah.
Witcher 3 is a full-time job. I have to. I can't even go to work. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm going to play Witcher 3. You don't have work? No, Witcher 3 is my job. I gotta beat Witcher 3. What do you mean?
Man, God, that'd be good. One day, man. One day.
I have it.
One day it'll literally be our job to play games.
Oh God, yeah.
But I thought the series did great. It got the lore just about right. It tried not to rely too much on the CGI from what I can see so far. I don't know.
It really didn't rely too much on CGI.
Yeah,
so a lot more practical.
But I almost find that to its detriment. In that first episode.
Oh yeah,
we saw we saw a monster.
Yeah.
We saw him fight a monster and stuff like that, and then it happens in one other episode, and then you're just like, isn't he a monster hunter? Isn't that kind of what the is about? The Witcher's not doing a lot of witching.
Well, yes and no, right? Because there are a lot of side quests in that game that are kind of...
Yeah, but that's not the main thing you're doing.
I think the appeal of Witcher 3, to me at least, is exploring the world. The main story's there, and I guess I should care what's going on with my pseudo daughter thing that does crazy shit. I guess I care, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes the interesting side quest is hey, I'm talking to this guy who's a blood mage, and he's telling me his history about how he killed his dad.
Mm-hmm.
But while he's telling me, I have to escort his goat across the fucking I don't enjoy escorting a goat across the field, but this guy's telling me some really deep shit. I want to talk to this guy some more, right?
Meanwhile, I have the opposite problem with Spider-Man. And the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Oh, the Spider-Man game is fucking amazing. I love that. But I guess you could kind of throw that in there too, as to what I was gonna say. The new Spider-Man in the movies.
Okay.
I want, and we still have yet to really get Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We got one scene, one set of scenes in Homecoming, where it was help some lady across the street, got churro. Remember when he stops the dude with the stealing a bike?
Yeah.
And wasn't it his bike?
Probably.
No. It was a guy who was trying to he was jimmying a car, and then he's like, "This is my car," and he's like, "I'm sorry." And then there's people coming out the windows, what the hell's going on out there? I want more of that. I want more hilarious, stupid, small Spider-Man moments. You know what I mean? But when it came down to The Witcher, I wanted more fighting monsters and shit. I'm not gonna lie. But
I feel honestly with The Witcher, it needed more world building.
Yeah.
Like I said on
setting
our
up.
episode, it needed more just setup with less bullshit. Because they definitely added way too many names and way too much just at the beginning of the show. Without context, if you're not a fan of the game, if you're not
it's
a fan
going
of the
over
series,
your head.
Yeah, you don't know what the fuck is going on. You don't know who all these families are and who the fuck are who cares? But I don't know. I feel it's definitely a show that you have to watch more than once to really get everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think I experienced the detriment only because like coming from like the Game of Thrones world where you are thrown a lot of family names, you're thrown into the midst of like some political.
But you have
thing
context with Game of Thrones.
Well,
like
not when you first start. When you first jump in, they're like, oh, these are the Lannisters. What the fuck are them? Well, they're one of the noble families here, and they're at war with these people. Like,
admittedly here, we got to give you a little bit of a benefit of the doubt here because you haven't finished it.
Okay.
A lot of the things that are like set up of like the Nilfgaardians and stuff like that, or like the different family names and all these like the big bogs and the Fuboobs or whatever. They never really get paid off. They never really get explained. Like where you're just like, so what was the point of me like learning this name and like
That's fair.
It's just something like
character fodder for fire.
We were just like we both kind of agreed on that point of like unnecessary information in terms of an actual show, because that's one thing is like you kind of have to play to the lowest common denominator when you're making a show where there's going to be people who go on Netflix or was it on Netflix?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yep.
You're going on Netflix. Your son or daughter is saying like, hey, this fantasy show, you like Lord of the Rings, right? You like Game of Thrones? You're gonna like this show. It's all fantasy. It's got dragons and magic and shit. And like you're like, okay, but like it's the pacing was kind of messed up for me at least, and the like it was convoluted. Like it didn't need all of these extra things. I felt like it was unfocused. Like they could have used a little more focus in like what's actually going on. Why should I care about what's going on with these specific characters? Why are you adding all this extra shit if it doesn't have anything to do with it? Like, for example...
They crammed a lot of extra shit in there.
That they didn't need.
Yeah.
But, like, for example, an example of something they did do right was that episode with Law of Surprise and how you've already met this queen. You know about, like, the war that's going on. She literally shows up bloody, which I think is fucking hilarious. But, there's a lot of context in what's going on there. Like, that was a very good episode. I really like that episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of that series. But... there's other episodes where you're just like, oh, so like, is this a monster of the week type thing? Not literally, but is this like a situation of the week type thing?
That is kind of his adventure, though.
Yeah.
It is kind of his.
But if that was what it was, then do that. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, you have to.
Well, I think that in a first season you can. Like, like the closest one I could think of is say like Supernatural, like bad example, right?
It's funny.
But the first season is a lot of like, all right, what are we hunting today, guys? Oh, it's a fucking Wendigo. Why are we out here? All right, we're hunting a Wendigo, right?
Yeah, but if that's what it is,
Wendigo.
Well,
okay,
it is until the end of the first season though where the story starts to come together. Where now we're building to a narrative, right?
Yeah.
But the first like slog of the first season is like, oh, we're fighting this thing. This is what we do. We're monster hunters. Damn it, Sam, we're gonna go do this thing.
Yeah.
Right? And then by the end of the first season, it's like, oh, now this is why I'm watching.
So what I'm saying there is that now this is starting to come together. We've built these characters up and whatnot. They did the now part in the first season, in the beginning. They were like, you should care about these things. You should care about these characters that
it's very
have never like they're introduced, they're important for some reason, and we're moving on. And I'm just like, why should I care? And then when you get to the end of that, it's like what was the point? You know what I mean? But anyways, I'm harping.
No, you're good.
I mean, I honestly hated that Triss was even there.
Yeah, she didn't. She like didn't. Anyways,
she had barely anything to do with it.
He didn't watch the last 3 episodes yet, so.
Triss showed up, but I get what you're saying. She didn't fit for like having Yennefer there. I mean.
Yeah, if you like introduce Yennefer, get Yennefer as an established character, then season 2, if you want to bring in Triss and then have that love triangle kind of happen,
yes,
like then do that. You know what I mean? Like,
if you want to have bound to always be with Yennefer. It's just it's written.
I can't speak to that. Right. That one I can't. I literally cannot speak to that one.
They're bound to each other.
Like by fate?
By bullshit magic.
I mean, magic. Like, there's magic rules. So just stop thinking.
That was another thing in terms of like the magic and like this is something that like almost what's the word, like rebutting myself like to my own detriment of my own argument. Was they used magic at some point? Like, you remember when he's fighting the
hand signs,
the Vulcan or whatever. Yeah, like he did like it was I think it was Agni or something like that where he uses one of the spells. Yeah, force push. He fucking force pushes this fucking thing, and I was like, man, I would have loved to have seen him get into that just a little bit more. You know, that actually no, that is to the argument I was making, where he just kind of like uses it, and it's like, oh, cool. How do you know how to do that? Why can you do that? Like, can other people do that? I don't know. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like they don't really explain what a Witcher is, even, you know.
Well, I mean, they pseudo explain it. They do talk about like what
it's a bounty hunter. As far as
they
the
talk
actual...
about the process of like how one gets made, right? Like they say.
I think it's like a single line.
Well, it's like it's the whole first. It's kind of like the whole like crux of the first episode, where it's like
which that was a great episode.
You're a creature made of magic. Like you do some kind of ritual, like you're Brog, and the reason you can use light magic is because you're a creature of magic. Like it just does it like that.
You lose your humanity to become a Witcher.
Yeah.
It is like there's an assumption being made that like this is enough of a conversation. Suspend your disbelief. Like get there, right?
Yeah.
Which like like.
I'm sure that they'll explore it more in
yes.
season 2, because at that point, Ciri's gonna be with Geralt, and then she has to be trained.
Never mind.
What?
No. Did they end up meeting up at the end?
Yeah.
They did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But it was like a turn around. You know what I mean? Like,
it was like a quick.
Like they didn't meet. They just so happened to look at each other, and it was like end of season.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It was very what's the
Setting
word?
up like a
cliffhanger.
Bad cliffhanger.
No, it was just unfulfilling, but that's not the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, it was like getting to the end, like you weren't happy you came, but you got there.
Yeah, it was lackluster, but that's still not the word I'm looking for.
That's how I felt about season 3 of Castlevania. I felt like I got to the end of that and I was a little disappointed.
I enjoyed season 3. I was looking forward to it for so long, and then I saw it.
No, I was too.
Isaac is the shit.
Absolutely. 100%.
I love his entire like travel with the boatman. Like,
that was probably one of the best episodes. I wish that was actually extended another episode.
Yeah, I would have wanted his arc to like
been the whole boat ride. That's what I thought was going to be. Right, and then they drop him off, and he kind of like rinse and repeats real quick.
He just turns around, waves him off. Like, all right, that's kind of cool, but Isaac, man.
And honestly, by the end of his arc,
isn't this the definition of insanity?
Yeah.
Like, oh god,
like, that was a cool line, right? But like. Even by like the end, like the final part of his arc, where he's just like, "Oh, go! Like, I'm also a forge master. I'm gonna," even like how she was written, "I'm crazy. Now go kill those guys and get your army." And he's like, "Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have this epic fight scene, but like, why do I care about this fight scene?
Yeah.
Like, it looks visually stunning, but like, why are you doing this? Like, I would have rather you have another episode on the boat with that guy. Like, you travel the whole thing with him.
Yeah.
He joins your crew. You're like, okay, yeah, I'll fuck with you. Like, you'll be my foil for my humanity. Like, that was cool.
Not even just that, but like, he could have been his boatman to take him anywhere.
That's what I thought they were
going towards,
building towards, and they kind of just like, nope, this one episode is good. You had this cool talk, makes you think about it. Now go back out there and be a murderer. Yeah. Go back out there and murder people. And he's
go back out there and hate humanity again, because that's what the show's really about.
Did you catch the JoJo's reference in it, by the way?
Oh yeah.
I almost lost my shit when I saw it.
Oh my god, it was great. Castlevania.
Yeah. There's like a scene where like the shopkeep is holding this stone mask, and literally the JoJo's begins with a stone mask that can create vampires. Yeah. So like you're seeing the shopkeep hold like the very mask from JoJo's.
Oh, is it literally like designed the same way?
Yes. They weren't even like being subtle about it. They were like, you're like, oh, I'm a collector of mysterious things. And he happens to have this stone mask, and you're like, whoa, are you saying like this is the same universe? Hold the fucking phone here.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Fucking have one of the Joestars show up, I'd lose my shit.
Yeah.
Stands start popping up.
Stando! Oh no, Castlevania was cool. I will say that like watching the third season reinvigorated that spark in me, right? So I literally went and bought Symphony of the Night for my phone, because I guess you can get it for $3 now. So like, I shit you not, right?
On your phone.
I'd pull it out right now.
No, it's okay.
We believe you.
Like
that's not the problem he has.
For $3, right? And like, yeah, the on-screen control sucked, but you can literally Bluetooth your control. They made it Bluetooth compatible.
I do find that really funny, because he just mentioned that the other day about Nico.
Yeah.
Playing Fortnite. On his phone, but using a controller. I was like, you can do that?
Yes. Yeah. So, you can Bluetooth your controller. I'm playing it. I'm like, oh, shit. And that's what prompted me to buy Bloodstained.
Nice.
Where I was like, you know what?
What's the subtitle for that?
Ritual of the Night.
Blood. Ritual of
Blood.
Ritual.
No, it is Ritual of the Night. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And that prompted me to go buy that game, right? And I was like, you know what? I haven't played something like that in a while. And I went, I think the first day I got it, I don't think I went to sleep till like 5 in the morning. Like I sat there like at 6 o'clock. I think actually I started. Didn't go to sleep till like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow. But I didn't realize like how much I had missed like a Castlevania game, right? Until I really sat. Well, specifically, like I enjoy that whole
actual
Castlevania
Castlevania
atmosphere, right?
Yeah,
And
that
that
classic
gothic, like
Oh, yeah.
vampire-y with like the monsters or whatever. So I'm specifically on like
yes.
that atmosphere. And it's technically not Castlevania, but it's the same creators. Like a lot of the influences. There.
I was just about to ask the guy, Koji Igarashi.
Yeah,
it is Igarashi.
Even his trailer though. If you watch the PSN trailer for the game, it's just him trolling people, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Right.
So when he first put out like the beta, right? Like there's like all these comments about like, oh, this looks really rough, and like and so when you watch the trailer for it, you're watching the original beta with like the rough details and all that, and he actually puts the comments on the screen,
Nice.
right? Where like oh, this looks rough, blah blah blah, and then you have this scene of him like in a chair with a glass of wine, doing the classic Dracula where he flips and he throws it down. He's like, I'll show them, and then he had like literally the side.
What is a man?
Yeah, no, that right, and he does like the side by side comparison. Like here's the touched up edition with the one you were talking shit about. And
Yeah,
you're like,
I was
my God.
getting there, motherfuckers. Like,
He's like,
relax.
Yeah, and you're watching like, oh my God, this is gorgeous, right? And so like, man, it's such a good game.
And isn't there also one that is like Super Nintendo graphics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the D-Make.
Curse of...
No, it's not a remake. It's a different game.
No, they...
Oh, yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a totally different game.
Curse of the Moon.
Yeah.
So Bloodstained Curse of the Moon came out before Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Are they connected?
I think they are.
Say yes, please.
They
say
are...
Yes. Just lie to me.
They're tangentially, because the characters in Curse of the Moon are in Bloodstained, but it's almost like alternate timeline. Right?
Okay.
Where you're playing this character Zangetsu, and he shows up in the second one, or not in the second one, in Bloodstained.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming he's a playable character because his thing is you beat the game, you unlock the code to play a new person.
Okay.
I'm assuming he's gonna be playable.
That'd be cool.
You meet the main character of Bloodstained Ritual. You meet like two of the other characters that are you actually meet the main villain who's in Bloodstained Ritual, and you get to play as him as well as the main character, right? And you can get
a prequel.
Well, it's not, right? Because it's not set. Because when you play the Ritual of the Blood, the characters have never met each other. So it's almost like alternate. It's like alternate timeline. You know what I mean?
We both were like, okay, that's different.
So
All
it's
right.
like alternate timelining where it's like, let's say like this is the way events kind of go out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, like, that's kind of. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of disappointing. Like, I kind of wish that it was like,
it would have been cool.
you know, this sort of demaked game is the prequel to this other game. You know.
I mean, you know,
When they make reference to it in the next
Yeah,
one, but without you having to have played the first one, you know.
Yeah. It's not, and that's like that. Maybe that's it.
It is what it is.
It's a missed opportunity, definitely.
Happens all the time. Missed opportunities happen all the time.
But no, it's a really dope game, and like, you know, I think it's ironic like we're having this conversation about RPGs, and I've been playing Bloodstained, and like I'm really torn about whether I want to consider it one. Because,
why?
So I know, and I've heard you talk about like this notion of like, you know, there's like a level up system, right? There's stats we look at, right? In Bloodstained, you level up, your stats do go up.
But
no, but that's not my butt. Like I'm like for like one of that criteria, right? So it has.
I was saying, but in terms of you said you were like,
oh, okay. So like I guess in my head I don't have like many RPGs that have that platformer format that I can fall back on, right? Like there, and I remember I was showing you
Oh yeah.
God, that's really loud.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I was like, you're really hitting your head.
My habit is like the bang like head till I figure it out.
Literally though, like
because I know that one of the criteria you had was like, you know, this notion of like leveling up. You have to like manage stats, right?
It's like that. Your stats have a tangible effect on gameplay.
So you know,
leveling
Symphony of the
up
Night hits that. Bloodstained definitely hits that. Where, you know, leveling up is not just your health, but like you are doing a little more damage. You can take a little more damage, along with like whatever gear you equip.
But does your speed increase so that you can run faster in the game or something? Or? Like across?
I guess that's a good question. I have to think about that. If it is, I don't know if I noticed it.
It's so small. Like,
if it is, I haven't noticed.
But like,
literally,
it's
like
the last thing I look at. Like, this thing's still gonna probably smack me in the face anyway. It doesn't matter how fast.
In Hollow Knight, you can attach charms to your character. Like you have a certain amount of notches, and each of your charms has a certain
ability
notch cost. You know, and they do things like, you know, makes your sword swing bigger, gives you higher defense. So there's a charm that's called Dash Master.
Yeah.
I mean, Speed Master. You move by like 0.2% faster. And it's like it's like a throwaway charm. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, I would never use it.
Okay, but what if you buy like 3 of those and they stack?
No, this what you get one. You have one charm.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
there is only one of each charm.
Can you not upgrade the charm?
No,
Oh,
no, you have that charm on, and that's what it does.
that's really sad.
So, I mean, Bloodstain has something similar to that then, or like, I mean, obviously based on what equipment it affects like your attack speed, right? But there are like, they're called shards, right? And every time you beat an enemy, like I have the chance to drop a shard, and like one of the shards might be like, oh, your magic attack changes from, you have the choice to change it from like, you know, like a water ball to like this one, you know, like throw the axe, like the classic Castlevania, like, oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
the fuck.
Dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's also ones like the one of them I got recently. It's called like Optimizer. Like when I equipped it, my attack speed goes up, and if I rank it up by getting the right alchemy materials, it'll increase my damage maybe. Or like at rank 3 it does this. You have the option to do that, and so there's different shards that can do stuff like that. There's one like
Yeah.
you can increase your constitution with this shard, and
Yeah.
if you level up the shard, it does more of a boost here.
So what you were saying about like the platformer part of it, the aspect of the platformer being almost like this is the way that I kind of see it. Is like that's the main crux of the game. That's what you're doing. Is you're hack and slashing and jumping and stuff like that. And when I'm thinking about like RPGs, as we were talking about before, stuff like an ATB gauge, turn-based, or you know, you're making decisions like in real time to attack. Like it's almost more strategic. Like you're taking time to think of what you want to do as opposed to just kind of doing, like such as jumping, running, slashing, climbing, you know.
So just so to make sure I understand, so what you're saying is has part of like an element of being like part of like that criteria of being an RPG.
Of being an RPG.
Is that ability to decide on what you're like having like some kind
Having
of like,
having sort of like
A buffer time.
something like a buffer time, but like you are consciously thinking about the next moves that you can make, the next moves that your opponents can make, and you're making strategic decisions on that. And those decisions are based on your stats, the enemy's stats, and what weapon you have on, what people are in your party, you know, stuff like that, you know.
well then because I feel like then Bloodstain hits that criteria a bit, right?
Okay.
Like if I'm if I have
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just
no,
saying
for
like,
sure. Like no, but like if I have a great like a heavy sword on, like I can't attack the same amount of time as I would, right? So I have to like think about like, am I gonna do 2 quick hits or am I gonna back up or am I gonna?
Oh,
like,
so does it have like a stamina meter as well?
there's no stamina meter, but there is
Something that works as a stamina.
Yeah, well, yeah. So each weapon has a different kind of attack speed. So if you have a dagger, you can press the attack button, all day, right? But if you have a heavy sword, like you sure you want to sit there for that third attack?
I think by stamina meter you mean like, is there a limited amount of times that you can use that before you need to wait for a second?
Yes,
There is.
Yes.
Okay.
Then yes, because like a heavy sword, I can swing once, and there's like maybe like a 2-second delay before I get to I can go again, right?
Okay.
And I can like equip things to try and make that speed change a bit, like optimizer or whatever. If I put this on, I can attack a little bit faster.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Boom.
Alright.
So I can like
That's kinda
change that
cool.
speed up a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think like Symphony of Night also like has those things, right? Where
Yeah,
like,
no, definitely.
They're definitely leveling up in
There's-
Symphony. But
Symphony and games like that, like in that Castlevania and like Metroid, not specifically Metroidvania, I mean literally Metroid and Castlevania,
Yeah.
and certain games that have that sort of style, the artwork in it. I gotta just talk about that for a minute.
Absolutely.
Let's actually take a minute to
To appreciate
appreciate
the artwork.
some of the artwork of some of these RPGs and how amazing and beautiful they can be.
absolutely,
Oh, yeah,
know,
definitely.
100%.
I mean, like Final Fantasy X is not my favorite game by any means, but there are some gorgeous animations in that game. You know,
Yeah, the scene where Yuna's ferrying away the soul.
yeah.
Oh my
is
god, that
beautiful,
ceremony. Yeah,
gorgeous.
I cried.
Yeah,
Like, oh god, it was stunning.
you can even 7. Just that opening cutscene of like even back in 1998, I think 1998, 1996.
7.
7. Is it 1997? Is it actually 1997?
I think so.
Yeah, but you know that.
And then the train tracks.
But like that zoom out where you get like all of Midgard
Yeah.
blows your fucking mind when you're
Oh, yeah.
12, 13 years old in 1997 and you're like, oh, fucking hell, I don't think any of us are that old, but
No.
I said it and then I thought about it, I was like, but I also don't think any of us got it like day of drop.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I don't know.
I watched my uncle play it.
Yeah, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of.
But what I was thinking when I was saying
I was
like
the annoying little brother at the time.
the Metroid Castlevania thing. Castlevania's attack animations are some of my favorites in pixel art.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, you're talking about classic Castlevania at that point.
Yeah, no, I was talking about wow, did you hear the voice crack?
Oh,
Yeah, it's so cool, man.
Geez, Rick,
Oh, jeez. No, but there's one for the 3DS. Do you guys know the name of that one by any chance? Castlevania game.
It's, I want to say,
not for the 3DS. I'm thinking of a DS one. Don't listen to me.
Lord of Shadows? No, Mirrors. Mirror something. Lord of Shadows was the one for the PS3.
That was the 2.5D. Yeah, that wasn't it. That's not the one I'm thinking of. It was definitely on a handheld. It may have even been on the Game Boy Advance. But I remember as a kid, like,
Lament
seeing
of Innocence?
Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to see it. But
okay.
it's funny how, like, I asked for the name, and then when a name was given to me,
It's like, nah, fuck that. That's not the name.
No. It was I don't know. But I just remember, I can literally remember where I was. I was watching on my computer, it was in the family room and stuff like that, and it was the slash animation. And it was the fact that the slash animation wasn't one of these. It was one of these, where your screen was on the side. And so what it really was, just a line doing this, you know, with that. But I remember seeing
like
that.
a swoosh?
No, it wasn't. There was no swoosh.
No, it was just
a straight line. Like it was like a, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like it's yeah. And I was like, fuck, that looks so cool, you know. And like it seemed to me realistic because I had always gotten annoyed of that every attack was this.
Right.
It's like a bop it. Like you're fucking walking around with a hammer. It's like you have a sword. You're gonna slash.
Swing it, yeah.
You know, and seeing that and like that animation is fucking dope. And that was somewhat of the genesis of ideas like the Pixel Palace of like that pixel art truly can be beautiful.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It truly can do some things that 3D animation can't fucking do. You know, like there's something to be said for pixel art. You know, that you can't replicate.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh.
Pixel art.
Some of your what are some of your guys' favorite animations or just beautiful moments or beautiful scenes, beautiful characters?
If you want a beautiful game that combines really great pixel art with like drawn animation, check out Octopath.
Yeah.
I have it.
Yeah.
I've heard.
The
Octopath
layering
Traveler.
on that.
Oh my god,
Oh,
it's
the
amazing.
parallax scrolling on that
It's
is
such
so
a
good.
beautiful game.
Have you seen it?
No, I know of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I know a lot
I was
of it. It's just one of those things where, like, you know, I don't have a Switch, so, like, you know.
I think it actually
the
finally
You
came
should
out.
get one.
Yeah, you probably should.
Just saying.
I've made my investment here. There's no going back.
I'm
That's
saying
it.
Whoa, yeah.
No one says you
hold
have to
up.
go back. You can just push forward with a Switch.
With a Switch,
It's not
yeah.
happening. It's just not. Listen, I've had this conversation with, like, multiple people. It's not happening.
Well, hold up.
I
You
appreciate
haven't
what you
had it here.
I haven't. Actually, I think we have talked about it.
I've convinced like 5 people in my life to get it already. I'm pretty sure I can try
Me
and
being
convince
one.
one more.
No. You convinced me to get Breath of the Wild. No, you did convince me to get a Switch. Yeah, you did convince me to get a Switch. What do you mean by like you've made your investment? There's no going back.
I just think that like Sony is like that system that I just kind of because there was a point in time where I had all of them. Right, I had the PlayStation, I had the Xbox, I had the Super Nintendo. I leveled up. You know, PlayStation 2. You know. I guess the Xbox just came out, so that joined my repertoire. I got the GameCube.
Yeah.
I even had the Wii for a bit. Like I sat there and I went through the 3, and like I just found that I gravitated one the most, and it was like, all right. And now that I'm buying stuff for myself, like I gotta make my choice here, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And I found that like this is where I find
PlayStation.
most of the games I want, right? Like I'm a very simple guy. Like I just want my RPGs. I especially want my JRPGs, and I know where they're definitely going to be at. The Switch, I will say though, has like changed my perception for sure of Nintendo games. Where like I'm seeing a lot more of those games that like I would play that. That's cool that it's there.
Yeah.
But I know for sure I'm gonna get something like that here. Like
yeah,
I just know
definitely.
that, right?
I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
Fair.
the closest thing the Switch has to a Shin Megami game right now is Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
but
Sharp FE.
they're my thing. You know what I mean? So like, if I had to like, you know, if I was someone who was like really excited for the Persona release,
See, like now I forgot who I was talking to. That's what it was.
But like, if I was really excited for the Persona release on Switch, and they were like, "Nah, JK, it's 950 words Persona," I'd lose my shit and be like, "What the fuck?" You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Okay.
I'm a little
yes.
heartbroken
Nah, 'cause
that
everyone
Royal
is.
isn't coming out.
No.
Yeah.
I give it to you now. Now I understand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which isn't to say anything against the other systems. Like,
No.
I have like a very niche thing that I like.
Except the Xbox, because of course.
No, but like if I was if I was the shooter, like, I'd probably play
Master
Xbox.
Well, I mean, we can all agree.
Anyways.
We can all agree on that.
Anyway, but like I have a very niche thing I like, and I know that Sony's going to cater to that, and it doesn't take anything away from the other systems. It's just like I know what I want to do all the time.
Yeah,
we talked about that in the very beginning.
Yeah.
You have that niche. That's why you're here now.
This is my thing,
you know,
and like I know I'm gonna get it right here.
Yeah. And mind you, I'm a PlayStation fanboy. You know what I mean? But the Nintendo Switch, just to put it out there, is the first time I've ever bought a game that I already owned on a different console.
That's impressive. No, but like I will put out that the
blows
Switch
my fucking mind. The Switch is fucking amazing. It's one of the greatest consoles I've ever owned.
The fact that it can run like The Witcher and Warface by Crytek and the CryEngine, like what?
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Amazing.
I think that like
even
the
having
Switch is a
said
great
that,
system.
though, you know.
Oh yeah,
it still has its
definitely.
shortcomings.
Oh no, yeah, it definitely does.
You
But
know.
I mean, it couldn't run like a full-on brand new of today's generation AAA title.
But is that what you're going for when you buy one? No, not necessarily.
Yeah, not really.
Because if you were going for that, you'd buy a PlayStation. You know what I mean?
No, but like the Switch has changed the game. I will acknowledge that. Like,
I just love the fact that
really
like
cool. Like if in another life I own a Switch, absolutely. It's
Hell
just
yeah.
unfortunately like like
It
this is
what
where
it is.
I'm at.
Yeah, cool.
And I don't know if I'm gonna like I'll play the Switch. Like I've come over and played Smash Bros. Like I've enjoyed that. Like I have buddies who have the Switch and like I like the games that are there. I wish some of them did come over my way and vice versa. I wish some games really made it that way. I have so many friends that would enjoy a Shin Megami Tensei game, but it just hasn't.
We're getting Shin Megami 5.
That's that. Well, when that finally happens, you know, Atlas can take.
But at the same time
on that. I know.
Let me. Point made. Point made.
I'm gonna say it is, man.
I'm just gonna before we move on to that.
No. Okay, go ahead.
Because you did ask the
Before
question, like, what was like an animation I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We haven't finished that. You didn't have one. You didn't.
I talked about the beauty of Octopath.
Oh yeah, you did. Well, we like barely touched it.
But I mean, just the beauty of it in general. I mean, watch some of the character animations as they attack, as they just save up and store power for a turn, and their little golden extra turn diamond lights up. It's just
extra
like,
turn diamond.
Yeah, well, it's not an extra. It's like extra shit you can do during your turn diamond.
Dude, even the animation for like in Kingdom Hearts when you get like one of the items in between levels. Like,
and it just swirls up by you.
Yeah.
No, like the.
Oh yeah.
You know, like you're in between chapters or something, and it's like I finished a cutscene, and the screen is black, and it's like.
You got this thing.
Yeah,
that is such an awesome noise.
when the key pops up for that world.
Yeah, it does that spin, and it's like bam.
Yeah.
But you had one that you've been trying to get out for a minute
now.
No,
this is like, I'm still thinking.
No, I think the one in most recent memory, maybe not like my favorite, but I think would have to be Indivisible. I think that like the fact that everything there is hand drawn adds like a whole other element where even just like simple walking actions, right? Like you take on a whole other appreciation for what's happening there. And the fact that you have like these diverse cast of characters that are each in their own hand drawn, so like the way they fight is just unique, and like even like my guy with the turban, like the way he flips the turban out is wild, or like you see my guy with like Dar with the sword, like everything, even like the enemies, like just it's like the simple little like blob thing. Like,
the squash and stretch, the you know what I mean, the fact that like when something swings for something, it goes in that like if you were to put it into a 3D style. You would have to everything would be rigid, you know. Whereas when you do an animation, especially a hand-drawn one, you're like, whoosh, where it wouldn't make any sense if you did it in a 3D style or in a realistic style. But
because of the artistic,
because it's a fucking cartoon. You know, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
you know?
And I would to answer your question, I would say that I think that's some of the like most like beautiful like 2D stuff I've seen in like a while. Like I'll just even like being blown away just looking at environments, you know, like I finally made it to like like a city area, right, where it's supposed to be like this like drug infested thing where like at one point I'm pretty sure the enemies are like crackheads, like they're just, like they're like no, like for real, they're like scheming on the ground, they're like there's this new drug that's like sweep the market everywhere.
It's called skooma.
I don't know what the fuck it's called, but they're just like and then like literally I remember like I fought it like I was at your house and like I fought it by accident. I was like walking. I thought he was part of the environment. He smacks me like, oh shit, I'm fighting crackheads. Like this is like a real thing here.
But like crackheads.
Yeah, but like even like the griminess of the city was like really cool. You know what I mean? Like it was just like wow. Like I just hadn't felt that in like in a while, right? So I was like, oh, like this is like really, really, really fucking nice. Like I really appreciated
that. That art style it's immersive.
Yeah.
Yes.
It makes you just feel it like I don't know, man. This is a skeevy part of town. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Stuff like
here's
that.
this crackhead coming at me.
Or like when you're in the mountains, or like you're getting those vistas and stuff. Like when we played Hyperlight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Hyperlight has some animations.
The giants standing on the sides of
on
buildings.
the side of the mountain.
Yeah. It's insane.
Or when you're walking through his skull and whatnot. You gotta check that out.
The one that's under the
Hyperlight,
lake.
okay.
Oh man, under the ice. That was cool.
Lake under the ice.
Yeah.
In the Eastern Lake. He's not under ice.
Yeah, there was one there's like a face of one or like a hand of one that was just under there.
In ice?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Under the water, like.
He's under the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not frozen.
No.
Okay.
He's not.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I guess he is frozen if he's under the.
Well, he's dead. I mean, like he's not going anywhere.
He's frozen, he's dead. You know. Like.
No, but what I was saying was you not only do you need to play that, which it is on PlayStation by the way.
Okay.
But
you should watch it.
you should watch it. That's what I was actually going for. Was you gotta watch our playthrough.
Should give it a watch.
It's fucking hilarious. It's awesome.
Nah, it was a pretty fun game.
It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.